What a finish! What a man!
The drum roll finishes, and the target is hit.
And it comes on finals night, and it's a knockout
Brilliant! Dirty Harrison! Robin Van Velzen!
Richie Howson to hold his throw, to hold his nerve, and to book his place through to Saturday's final. Another one of them will leave himself double 16. Well, this is incredible. The first leg, neither player could hit a thing. Triple 18. Bullseye. Beautiful bang on cue.
Danny Van Troy.
Time on his side here to level this one at 140. Can be done in 2 visits, maybe done in 1, another in there. Leaves him on double 10. Wonderful weaning.
Shot of full flag.
Crashes in a ton topper.
You require 128.
128 here for Justin Smith. Triple 20 leaves the ball. It's another big dub plus checkout. That's his 4th for the day.
Be a touch of quality here. Tops for a 2-0 lead.
Game shot on his second leg. Henry Coates.
Well, it's the only thing that's been missing from Henry Coates' collection today, a dub plus checkout. Hello, welcome along to another Super Series Saturday here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. It is already a competition littered with opportunity. The Champions Week field perhaps is as open as ever. And for the 6 players that are in action this evening, it's only Justin Smith that has previously won a MODUS Super Series weekly title before. History on the line potentially for somebody, and we're going to be watching it in the company of Matthew Egger this evening. Now, it's been quite the intriguing week. It's kind of followed the pattern of the series so far, hasn't it? Unpredictability all the way.
And a very wide open Champions Week, which someone's going to punch their ticket for tonight. And taking a pick out of the 6 players tonight, good luck with that. When we look at them, they're separated by just 3 points in the average over a very large sample of games that we've had this week. This is wide open tonight.
And it's been wide open all week long. This is the story of how things went down. Richie Howson returned to the Live Lounge for the first time since his Legends League title win, but it was Australia's Brandon Weaning who got the better of him in the first match of the week. Danny Van Troy recently dropping off tour, got off to a perfect start, averaging more than 100 in his opening match of the week. A below-par Justin Smith struggled at times during his Group A campaign, but a more promising Wednesday saw him finish in 4th place, ready to continue his week in Group C. Howson's early disappointment was short-lived though. Despite losing his first game, he won his next 14 consecutive matches, booking his place into the weekly final, becoming only the 6th player to secure 28 points at the Live Lounge. Group C saw the emergence of youngster Henry Coates, who started his campaign in style. He dropped only 2 legs across his first 3 games on Thursday and continued to impress throughout the group, securing his place at finals night. A positive campaign for Alton McDyer saw him firmly in the mix for a spot in finals night. The Irishman hit a blockbuster finish every day, but missed out on a finals night spot by legs difference. Justin Smith had a vastly improved Group C campaign with more than 40% on the outer ring and 5 wins out of 5 on Friday. Smith topped the group in style. Meanwhile, in Group B, it was Danny Van Troy who led proceedings after the first day of play. The former tour card holder's solid performances were enough to see him through to the weekly final. And guess what? He absolutely loved it. Shane McGurk won all his games on Friday night, which is enough to see him win Group B. The newly crowned world champion looks to add a Super Series weekly title to his resume. And the last game of Group B was a straight shootout for qualification. In a match that went to a last leg decider, it was Brandon Weaning who got the better of Kelvin O'Keefe, the Australian completing the Week 4 finals lineup. Well, this is how we've got to this point. Richie Howson won the Legends League, is looking for his first outright Super Series win. Shane McGurk also looking to do so himself, the reigning WDF World Champion. Danny Van Tripe is back here for the first time since losing his tour card. Brandon Weaning looking to round off his UK trip with another UK trip in a few months' time. Justin Smith and Henry Coates were the two players that made it through Group C on Friday afternoon. Well, let's talk through the story of the week then in the company of Matt. Richie Howson dropped his first game in Group A, but from that point onwards, he was absolutely imperious, wasn't he?
It never really felt in doubt, did it, with Richie Howson? He was so good. I used the term reactive quite a lot with him with regards to his play, which is the greatest compliment you can possibly give a player. Every time he needed something, he found something a little bit extra. He played consistently and at a high level of consistency throughout as well. Great preparation in regards to what he wants to do to go on to the Seniors World Championship next week. And what a way to mark that off with a weekly title here at the Super Series.
Shane McGurk won the Lakeside back in December. There was different eyes, different interest in him this time around because of his exploits in Frimley Green. How would you say he went this week, and how do you think he's adjusted to this new tag of world champion?
Yeah, he's got a pressure on his back and on his shoulders, a target on him as well, hasn't he, Shane McGurk, now in regards to what he did, because he will feel responsibility, and that responsibility is to always frank the form of that tournament, because that tournament lives in the player and how it ages rather than what that now means in regards to the darting calendar. And he will feel that pressure, and you could see that on the first night. He came in a little bit cold, a little bit underprepared, and he looked vulnerable. He did get enough wins on the opening night to make sure that if night 2 went the way he plans, then it'll make it pay. And he won all his games, and he was exceptional last night.
Henry Coates was a revelation on Thursday. He was a standout player in Group C without any shadow of a doubt. Okay, he finished runner-up in Group C on Friday, but it felt like as soon as he got the job done, then perhaps he just eased off the gas a little bit. But the performances prior to that were absolutely excellent.
And that's just experience, that is. You know, playing games when you've already qualified is a very tricky thing to do. And ultimately, he just wanted to get out and do his victory lap and sort of celebrate the achievement that he's got. It's very rare you actually achieve something and then, right, you've got to go play again. And he just struggled with that moment once he'd already got over the line. But he got over the line, and he got over the line well. He played exceptional in his Group C campaign. Never looked at any point like he was not going to qualify, and he did on debut. And we've seen this story before. Young players here on debut, fearless like Henry is, go up there and pick up the title.
Danny Van Tripe back here after a couple of years on the Pro Tour, dropped off at the end of 2024. He came out of the blocks blistering, 100 average in his first game, won his first 4 matches on Monday. Overall, how would you assess his week?
I assess it the exact same way that Danny does, that he wants to become a winner. He wants to learn to win again. He's just had 2 years on the Pro Tour where he says in his own words that it's gave him a step back. He's sort of regressed in regards to the amount of opportunities he had just playing on the tour, rather than being in things like this, playing for the national team, bit of WF ADC, that he's going to make use of this year. I think we see him a little bit like we've seen in the past. Connor Scott last year, someone who used the systems to learn to win once again. Danny Van Tripe could go the same way.
Fair to say Danny Van Tripe's also had a little bit of fun this week, sometimes at our expense as well. This was after his last game on Thursday night against Kelvin O'Keefe. And that, love, Matt, that was to us in the commentary box. Must have been saying nice things about him.
Specifically towards you, wasn't it? Which was your only Valentine's you got this year.
Only Valentine's I've ever had. Anyway, swiftly moving on. Justin Smith, he won Group C on Friday afternoon. Slow start to the week, but when he needed to turn on the class and turn on the style yesterday, he clicked into gear.
Yeah, he really did, didn't he? That Friday session was exceptional. Really, really good quality from Justin Smith. I don't think the technique was quite there for him at certain points this week. Certainly in the early part, he was just sort of pushing on the dart with the fingers that he would use as a guide, which were just making the dart kick in a little bit to the side. As the week's gone on, and he's got those reps in, we know he hasn't played a lot of darts in recent times other than local. And I do believe that as the week's gone on, he's managed to get that straighter. Yesterday was really, really good darts from Justin Smith. That will give him confidence now, because he can come into this thinking, well, I've got a good run of wins. I'm starting to throw the darts how I want them to be. Now he can play with freedom and fluency, which is when Justin Smith plays his best.
Brandon Weaning, interesting week this week. We've seen some really, really good stuff from him, but is it fair to say that inconsistency has also crept in at points?
That's how he would describe it, and it's hard to argue with. But when he's on, he is very much on. We saw that average, didn't we, earlier on in the week, where he picked up 108 average against Shane McGurk. Shane McGurk played well in that himself, averaging 97 and got blown away with just having one dart at the double. Just to frank how good that performance was of Brandon Weaning. Just which version do we get? I'm sure he's going to be up for it, but he's had a lot of darts. He's been away from home for a long time. At some point, you fear that tiredness may kick in.
So those are the 6 players that are in action this evening. This is how the night boils down. These are the 2 groups that are in play. Richie Howson, Danny Van Tripe and Henry Coates in Group 1. Shane McGurk, Justin Smith, Brandon Weaning in Group 2. And in terms of how the bookies look at tonight's proceedings, they have Richie Howson out as the 5-2 favourite. Shane McGurk, the reigning Lakeside champion, out at 7-2. Danny Van Tripe and Justin Smith at 4s. In terms of what the bookies are saying this evening, are you in agreement this time round?
I am in agreement. Yeah, I think that's pretty much spot on. I think Brandon Weaning's probably a little bit big. I think that should be a little bit tighter than 9-1. But what's interesting is at the start of the week, Shane McGurk was actually 3-1 to win the week. And that's before he got to finals night. He's now in finals night. You think he'd be maybe shorter than 3-1. He's actually moved out. He's gone out to 7-2. That suggests the odds compilers, the people that are backing this, have lost a little bit of faith in Shane McGurk, despite the fact he's now closer to that trophy.
Is the truth that we don't really quite know what to expect tonight? Where sometimes we can kind of feel, okay, if this player plays to this standard, they should do a job, or maybe if that player plays like that, they may not be able to do a job. It feels like tonight it's very open for interpretation.
It really is. If you like a player, you can back a player tonight and you're going to get value and you're going to get a run for that money. It's one of those sort of situations where I love to sit here and say who I think is going to win. And I love to go, there's your winner. That's the person to beat. I don't know who that is. The odds compilers say it's Richie Howson, but that's also up for interpretation and debate. I don't think you can really make a prediction until the semi-finals point tonight. Any one of these 6 could win.
Well, Matt's going to be in commentary this evening alongside Jack Garwood for this Saturday night. And earlier on this evening, Jack caught up with all 6 of the players that are going to be in action, including the 2 involved in our first match of the evening. It sees Richie Howson and Henry Coates go toe-to-toe, and Jack caught up with a pair.
Saturday night here at the MODUS Super Series. How are you feeling ahead of your first shot at the Saturday night action?
Yeah, feeling good. I've had 2 good first days here and feel if I can do the same again, then I'll stand a chance of probably getting a win.
We've seen a lot of youngsters have relative success here in 2024. Has that given you a bit of fire to come and do the same here yourself?
Yeah, obviously I've seen the likes of Luke and Jensen Walker do it recently. So, yeah, feeling good, and I'd like to see myself do it as well as them.
Knowing that you were teammates with Luke for such a long time through the JDC, how do you handle any comparisons that are drawn with someone who's had such ridiculous success as he has?
Yeah, it's one of them where you look at Luke and you know how well he has done, and you can't fault him for what he's done because you know he's been that good of a player since obviously growing up with him. So getting the comparisons to him is quite enjoy it, to be fair. It's quite an achievement to have that.
And back to tonight's action, Group C went as well as it could for you, pretty comfortable on debut. Does that give you some confidence heading into this action this evening?
Yeah, it always does. I mean, getting out of a group is a good achievement anyway. But then obviously I've got the finals night group and hopefully can do as well as I can.
We'll get that with Henry. We'll see you in a bit.
See you later. Thank you.
Richie, welcome back to Saturday night. How are you feeling ahead of tonight's action?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, Jack, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's the greatest thing to have a couple of days off. I like to keep going and that, but I wouldn't have swapped winning Group A for just to be here to make sure I'm playing. So hopefully the form stays as it is and I do okay tonight.
Well, it's only a couple of weeks since you were here and successfully won on a Saturday night, winning the League of Legends. Does that give you a bit of confidence heading into this evening?
Oh, 100%, yeah. I mean, there's nothing like crossing the line and winning. The only thing is I'm the old boy again here today, the oldest one in the building probably. So, yeah, I hope they take it easy on me.
When you walked in that week and you spoke to me, you said you were back playing county that weekend. It didn't quite go to plan, and then you were successful by the end of the week. This week, you told me the ADC didn't quite go to plan at the weekend, and now you're here on Saturday night. Is that a good omen?
Yeah, I think it's a great omen. I just don't know what it is. I seem to before I come to Modus, I play terrible, and then everything goes through your head. Oh, I wish I wasn't there next week. But as soon as I walk up on that stage, I feel so comfortable up there. I just nice to play up there.
Yeah, and looking ahead to playing on perhaps a different stage, it is the World Seniors World Championship next week. Are you feeling confident ahead of that one?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a great tournament next week. There's so many great games, and I've got Richie Burnett or Kevin Painter, so it's going to be a tough first round. But I've got no fears. I'll be trying to win it definitely.
Well, all the best with that, Richie, and all the best this evening.
Free. Haven't seen a Ton Plus checkout yet today. Until then, have we got another teenage sensation on our hands here at the Super Series? To hold his nerve and to book his place through to Saturday's final. It's double 18. Henry Coates is in to tomorrow night's final on his debut here at the MODUS Super Series. It's a man that wants to see win the World Seniors Championship this time next week up against somebody who's still eligible for the World Youth Championship for another 6 years. It's Richie Howson up against Henry Coates. It's some way to kick off the evening session here at the Live Lounge in Port. So come the end of the night, somebody will book the 4th ticket through to Champions Week. And we have an A-star cast in the commentary box for you this evening to guide you through all of the action. Matthew Edgar, the 2-time WF ranking event winner, is alongside Jack Garwood. Evening, Jack.
Evening, Henry. Thank you very much for that warm welcome. We do start the evening with our oldest player in the field taking on our youngest player in the field, the Owl, Richie Howson, 59 from Essex, taking on the 18-year-old Henry Coates from Derbyshire.
I think one of the things that was really notable about those interviews, though, was the excitement levels, and not just from the debutant there in Henry Coates, but also from Richie Howson. It's not because they're going to have their game called tonight by referee Owen Binks, it's because there's an opportunity here, and an opportunity really does beckon.
First leg, it's Richie to throw first. Game on!
It's interesting to see that from two players at completely different ends of their career as well. Henry Coates, just starting out in the game, has already got quite a solid CV behind him for an 18-year-old, but Richie Howson, 59-60 this year, going for that World Seniors title next week.
Yeah, it feels that when you say with Richie Howson being 59 years old, you'd expect his CV to maybe be behind him and something that he sort of showcases, but in fact, it's the other way around really, that Richie Howson's actually building his CV in his later years. The CV was
60.
Enhanced this week when he picked up a Group A title. He nearly had a little bit of history. Nobody's picked up the 30 points yet from a Group A campaign. 28 is the most we've got. Richie Howson added his name to that list, despite the fact he lost his very first game this week.
Yeah, losing that first game means he's currently on a 14-match win streak, which, rather interestingly, he was on that before he started this week. He won all 10 matches in Group B during the League of Legends, then won all 4 matches in the finals night. Monday morning against Brandon Weenan, that streak was curtailed. He's gone 14 straight once again. The record of matches won in a row here at the MODUS Super Series is 17, held by Daryl Pilgrim, which means if Richie Howson wins all 4 matches tonight, Matt, not only will he win the title and book his place in Champions Week, but he'd have that record all to himself as well.
We'll take one of the records off of Daryl Pilgrim, who owns pretty much all the records here at the Super Series. Not the intended target there for Richie Howson. But gets the 45 points required in the end to leave him on the double 8.
No score. Henry required 41.
Usually so lethal in that bottom left-hand corner. He absolutely loves the double 16 segment. Henry goes a little awry with his first start.
25.
Makes a bit of
Richie
a mess of that in the end, but it's
61.
Howson back for 61 for the opening leg.
Expect to be the same route and system here for Richie Howson.
Big 14 for double 16.
Game shot.
No
the
issues this
first
time.
leg.
Richie Howson up
Richie
and
Howson.
running here on Saturday night and takes the opening leg against Henry Coates.
Second leg, it's Henry to throw first. Game on.
How important is a fast start for these two, Matt, opening the show here on Saturday night?
Very much so you feel for
93.
Henry Coates more than Richie Howson. Richie Howson's been around a long time and he's certainly played the Super Series on many occasions. He knows you can recover on a Saturday night. For Henry, panic may set in. We've yet to
57.
see it here at the Super Series this week, but there's always that danger. Certainly when you're dealing with a younger player in a situation they've not been in before. How will they react to that sort of adversity?
Does the order of matches in this group contribute to that as well? Henry will return against Danny Van Schrijp
60.
first up before the final game in this group is Richie Howson against Danny.
Well, is Richie not good at anything was that sign? Well, I can tell you one thing Keegan
134.
Brown's not good at, and that's filling up the whole card. Very little writing, wasn't it, for such a big placard? He could have filled that up a little bit more.
Quite neat and fancy, though. We're not used to seeing that from dart players.
You put the question mark on the end, didn't he?
180.
Well, I'll tell you one thing
Henry
Richie
McGuire,
Howson is good at, and that is
140.
filling up that treble 20. First maximum of the night goes the way of the Owl.
Chipped in with
44.
19 earlier this week in the 3 days of action in Group A. Henry Coates matched that tally in just 2 days in Group C.
Very impressive for what is short format
60.
darts.
Henry
Mr. Seven.
McGuire, 96.
Well, we'll question what the response would be from Henry Coates. It's been very strong here.
44.
Despite the maximum
Richie
of
McGuire,
Richie Howson, he
144.
will feel he's got the luxury of time.
With that dart, Henry definitely will be coming back for this 52 to level us up.
128.
Howson is so strong in
Henry
that
McGuire,
16s corridor.
52.
Tops for Coates. Now double 10. There
Game
it is,
shot the
level
second
at one
leg.
apiece.
Henry Coates.
Such a mature head for a young man.
Third
that.
leg, it's Richie to
He's
throw
played
first.
darts for quite
Game
a few years, hasn't he, despite the fact he's just 18. And that is a big testament to the systems that are out there now with things like the JDC and the opportunities that young players have
60.
to play against the best of their age group. See, that's how you fill up a sign.
Kelvin O'Keefe may not know how to count, but he does know how to fill up his own sign here on
96.
Saturday night. Unfortunately, he's not involved in the action. Fell just short in that decider against Brandon Weenan late last night.
Yeah, another player who made his debut here at the
100.
Super Series this week. I'm sure we'll see him on that stage a little bit more throughout 2025.
98.
If you are a friend or family of Kelvin Owen, he's got a birthday coming up. One of those little checkout cards wouldn't go amiss, I think, Matt.
He probably gets them every year, certainly on Secret Santa
41.
time.
$60.
But yeah, going back to my point I was making is around these young players, it's not nowadays where they're coming to stages like this and it's all new to them. They're playing on streamed events. They've got these opportunities. And we're seeing it more common
100.
now. We saw Thomas Banks come here, didn't we? And picking up a weekly title. We've seen Jensen Walker this series get himself through to Champions Week.
140.
And of course, we all know what happened with the Luke Littler story when he came here and picked up back-to-back series titles.
Henry is a former teammate of Luke via the
100. Henry
JDC as
McGuire,
well.
107.
Henry was actually the JDC #1 at one point, ahead of Luke.
Game shot.
And that
the
is exactly
third
why
leg.
107 from Henry
Henry
Coates means he leads Richie Howson 2 legs to 1 with
Full
a
flag,
break
it's
of
Henry
throw.
to throw first. Game on.
Speaking of Luke Littler, though, 4 years ago yesterday, him and Henry met in a final of the England Youth Grand Prix. Luke Littler won that match 5-4. Do you know what he did in the final leg, Matt?
I'm going to guess, because I'm looking at your notes, that he did a 9-darter.
He did indeed.
60.
Yes, I did used to cheat.
Two incredibly talented players, though.
The start of the week when Henry Coates came here for his Group C
100.
campaign, you sort of watch and you scrutinise, you're trying to analyse, and within 2 legs we knew that we had a bit of a player on our hands. And even coming into tonight, we're posing the question,
100.
but I feel like it's just almost trying to sell unnecessary drama, because he just looks so accomplished, doesn't he? He just seems to be taking everything in
57.
his stride, and it's just an enjoyable, easy watch.
I've been fortunate enough to see quite a bit of Henry's development. He's been playing county darts in the senior side since he was 11, 12 years old.
60.
A product of the Jamie Caven Academy in Derbyshire as well. But I was MCing for Derby for 4 or 5 years in the last couple of years, seeing Henry's game kick on, seeing him experiment with
140.
different things. He went and won a local open where he was throwing flatties all day, and he changed his throw to that for 6 months. And to see the progression and to see where he's settled on a game now, that will
60.
take him far.
Henry
I have absolutely
require
no doubt of that.
104.
They're just taking out a 107 in the last. 104 will not be added to that roll of honour,
44.
but he didn't need to. Time on his side, because he's outscoring Richie Housen, who is right now just struggling to cling on to the coattails.
100. Henry
I
requires
tend to see this quite a
60.
bit with the Group A winner getting off to a bit of a slow start, but second chance to come later in the group, if Housen needs it, that is.
50.
Would have become a
Richard
very big
require
if Henry Coates
121.
had taken this 3-1. However, Housen with a chance to level up, 1-2-1. Doesn't get a dart at the bullseye.
97. Henry
And this is the one
require
double that
10.
Henry's had that little bit of trouble on throughout the week, hasn't he, Matt?
Game
Not
shot
tonight,
the
though.
full flare.
No problems
Henry
whatsoever for
Coates.
Henry Coates. He's a leg away from winning his very first game
Fifth
on a
leg, it's
Saturday
Richie to
night
throw
here
first.
at
Game
the
on.
Super Series. There's such a steely focus about him, isn't there, tonight? You know, underneath all of that, he'll be absolutely loving this experience.
100.
You mentioned the county experience he's got. He's also played a lot of exhibitions as well. So we'll have no fear of playing in front of
89.
people, and actually suggested this is where he plays his best darts, when you get that sort of instant feedback, that instant reaction to what is either a positive or a negative visit.
100.
There's no better feeling than playing in front of a crowd, personally. I've been fortunate enough to experience that through university darts. Not even anywhere near this level, but the minute you've got someone behind you
137.
reacting to what you're doing, cheering or even booing you, that feedback is so important to just make you a better player for me.
Yeah, I think mostly only in university darts will you say the booing
180.
coming into it. Some atmosphere. Reaction. Reactive. Their words have described Richie Housen as a lot this week, and we can do it again here. Reactive. He's 3-1 down.
105.
He
Richard
needs to dig deep.
121.
He produces what could be the best leg of the match so far. Gives Henry Coates the full respect there, with Henry Coates on the 170,
57. Henry
which would be
require
for the match.
170.
High finish of just 116 this week. So far,
84.
doesn't go this time though, and
Richie
Housen back for
require
64 to keep this one going a little bit longer.
Game shot the
Clean
fifth
as a
leg.
whistle. Housen back to
Richie Housen.
5-2. And even if he doesn't go on to win this leg, Matt, that's an important leg,
Sixth
isn't it?
leg,
In
it's
such a
Henry
short
to throw
format,
first.
the
Game
key to the Super Series, win big, lose small. And Housen has just narrowed that gap if he's going to go on to be defeated here.
Yeah, you don't want to be chasing
59.
later on in the night where you need one of those 4-0 or 4-1 results. Keep it as tight as possible, but 3-1 may have looked like a mountain to climb a moment ago, but it's all really about this leg.
60.
Nelson had the darts in the last, did have the darts in the final leg if it goes that far as well.
140.
Was that the opportunity?
Up against it a little now, but he won't be panicking. Fortunate enough to spend some time with him on Tuesday afternoon. He felt like his game's in such a good place that it doesn't really matter what's
59.
coming back at him at the moment. He feels like he's got the ability to respond, but he needs to dig deep and find that right now.
Yeah, they weren't ideal darts, those for Richie Housen. Not just the fact that they didn't go in the
79,
treble, but the
83.
fact they were so high in the bed. The flat angle of entry, he wants it in the bottom of the treble. Just there. That's the ideal dart for Richie Howson. So he can build, so he can grow.
140.
Very surprised he's not put all three in there, because the minute that bottom one is in, you just know what he's going to do next.
Well, that just puts him back into
45.
the leg.
As does that slip into the 5 from Henry, not able to leave a finish. And if Howson can stack a couple more on top of that once again, he'd be favourite to level us up.
140.
And then he'd have the darts in the deciding leg mat.
Well, Richie Howson showing that it's not just a slogan on the shirt where he says never give up, because
Richie require 102.
when those opening 6 darts didn't go right for him, he may have felt it was gone. Richie Howson didn't. But he would be gone if Henry Coates can find
Henry
the 76 finish.
76.
On debut on Saturday night, Henry Coates picks up his first win. Richie Howson's streak has ended at 14 once again. Here's a win for the 18-year-old Henry Coates, taking it by 4 legs to 2 against the Group A winner Richie Howson. Just under 90 averages for both. Howson with the better checkout percentage, but it's Coates who used all of his ability to get over the line there for 2. We're off for a quick break. We'll be back on the other side of this for Group 2, where Shane McGurk will take on Brandon Weening.
Hello, welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break, Henry Coates got the better of Richie Howson by 4 legs to 2. Really good performance that from the 18-year-old to deny Richie Howson in his first game of the night. So the Group A winner in a little bit of peril. Now, we are going to see the beginning of Group 2 on this Saturday evening, which features the reigning WDF World Champion Shane McGurk in action. He found himself in a little bit of trouble come the end of the first night's worth of play. He was only on 4 points. But a very good evening yesterday, completing the card meant that he topped Group B. He'll take on the player finished third in that particular group, Brandon Weening, who had an opposite Thursday to Shane, but then had to get over the line in a last match decider against Kelvin O'Keefe on Friday evening. Jack Garwood caught up with both players prior to this game getting underway.
Brandon, day 6 here at the MODUS Super Series for you this week. How are you feeling ahead of tonight's action?
Oh, a little bit tired, but look, it's something we have to do. We have to carry on and get on with the job.
How would you sum up your performances this week so far?
I had a couple of good performances and a few bad performances, but that starts. It's how you bounce back.
Was there a worry last night that perhaps you wouldn't make it this far? I didn't quite go to plan at the start of the evening.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a worry there. I probably went into that last night thinking that I had it in the bag, but look, it just showed that you have to put 100% into every game to win it. And unfortunately, yesterday I only put 100% into one game, which just got me over the line.
Does that give you some confidence ahead of tonight, though, that you can bounce back from such a difficult situation?
I believe so, yeah.
And you stint at the Lakeside. You've been here an awful long time now. Are you ready to get this title under your belt, head home, and then perhaps be back again in a few weeks' time for Champions Week?
Hey, look, I'm not going to think ahead. I'm going to take it one game at a time, see what happens. If I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. Not the end of the world.
Well, all the best for that tonight, Brandon.
Cheers, mate.
Shane, Saturday night at the MODUS Super Series. How are you feeling ahead of tonight's action?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I had a good day, good night last night, and confidence is good there. So I knew myself coming into it Thursday was going to be a bit off, and I did say it, but I knew I was going to put things right Friday, and hopefully today's no different, and I'm just going to win all my games as much as I can. That's the goal. Everyone wants to win every game, so just going to try to do that, and when you win, you lose, but I'm going to give it everything tonight.
What do you put Thursday down to? Because there was such a difference between Thursday's performance and last night.
Yeah, it's just probably lack of match practice, I'd say. Didn't really do a whole pile since Lakeside, but I knew coming into it it was going to be a few games to warm up into it, and started off a bit ropey, but I still got a couple of wins early on, so that kind of helped me. And then obviously had a great night last night, so I'm just thankful that I got through. And the top of the group was even better because the boys in there very competitive. There was a lot of games that we might have been the highest standard of games, some of them, but they were very competitive. And to be on top of that it's good confidence builder.
Speaking of the Lakeside, I can see the little star on your shirt. How does it feel to be wearing that? And does that place a target on your back ahead of this evening?
It probably does, but to me it doesn't matter. I know what I've done. My family knows what I've done. My community at home, they all know what I've done, and that's why I do it. I do it for everyone at home. I do it for myself more importantly. But if the boys have a bit of nerves about it, all the better for me, hopefully. And hopefully I can use that to my advantage. But I'm just going to go in and enjoy the night and see what happens.
Well, best of luck adding to that tonight, Shane.
Thank you.
Game's on a second leg.
Bullseye shots in a row.
Oh, yeah.
3 in a row.
Game's on a third leg.
Oh, my word.
Shane
2 more? And that is the end of his night. Very good.
John McFarlane, Shane McGurk.
But he was the imperious lord of the Lakeside, wasn't he, back in December, Shane McGurk? And now he's hoping to be the main man at the MODUS Super Series. He's looking to tick off another first here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. He takes on Brandon Weening in his first match of the night. It is a repeat of some Group B tussles between the pair in the company of Matthew Edgar and Jack Garwood.
Thanks once again, Henry. Yeah, the WDF World Champion is in the house. Shane McGurk, 29-year-old from Ireland, taking on Brandon Weening, the 26-year-old from Australia. It's been a heavily dart-intensive period for Brandon, coming over here for Q School a couple of weeks ago. Travelled with his dad, who's already gone back, but stuck around for a shot at Super Series glory.
First leg, it's Shane to throw first. Game on.
And his night's going to kick off here against Shane McGurk, a player who on this journey here in the UK has had to come across quite a bit. They've played each other twice already this week, that going 1-1 in the head-to-head. But the big one, the one that probably meant the most, the one that probably hurt the most was the one that happened at Lakeside where, as we know, Shane McGurk went on to pick up that title and become the WDF World Champion for the
48.
first time. A trophy I know that he'll be looking at defending come December this year.
Yeah, dropping just a solitary set on the way to the title.
140.
A truly remarkable feat in any field.
And then took the foot off the gas a little bit, didn't he? He didn't go his scorecard when he went through to Q School, and then by his own admission, sort of stopped practicing a little bit, stopped putting the effort in as such.
81.
Sort of just enjoyed the moment a little bit. And this week's sort of like the first real steps here for Shane McGurk in looking to get back to top form. And he needed that day Thursday, you could tell. That the performance wasn't like we saw at Lakeside. It was a little bit hit and miss, which is where he got his 50% results. But last night, that is a confidence-building night when you go through the card in a tough group like Group B was, and you do it in the style of which he did.
He travelled over from Ireland on Thursday morning as well, which makes Thursday an incredibly long day. You think that session's not started until 10 o'clock in the evening.
89.
Sensible play there, though, for Shane McGurk, not getting drawn in. And that's one of the things we can really say about Shane McGurk, isn't it? One of his attributes, one very level-headed, very professional approach. You're not going to see anything flashy and flary, but you're going to see something very good.
Game
Very good is that first start at double 16. Shane McGurk takes the lead.
Second leg is Brandon to throw first. Game on.
And dare I say it, a little bit of swagger tonight from Shane McGurk. That's the sort of swagger we saw on Lakeside, where even though he tells us he never really felt like he was going to go on to win the title, he certainly gave off that vibe that he was the owner of that stage.
It looks like he's playing just without fear at the minute. He's not wandering around giving it the big I am, but there is a quiet confidence about Shane. It's relaxed, it's calm, and every time he returns to the board for a dart at a double, you feel like he's going to hit it.
Yeah, strong start for McGurk, but Brandon Weening responding well. We have seen these two have an almighty game this week. That was the game where Brandon Weening had his best average of the week, 108 average. He restricted Shane McGurk to just one dart at a double, despite the 97. It looks like he's trying to rediscover those levels here.
Not just his best average of the week, Matt. The best average of his career competitively. And it was a lot more for a lot of that game as well. It came down in that final leg.
Brandon, you require 137.
Doesn't take much to knock a few points off the average when you're running that high.
The 137 was a chance to push that average up a little bit here in leg 2. Shane McGurk, though, with a chance to raise the roof of the live lounge. Won't go this time. Weening up 44 on his return to get this one level.
Same sort of equation Shane McGurk had in the opener. 5 visits to the board. Looking at taking out the leg, which would force your opponent into 12 or less.
Game shown the second leg. Brandon Weening.
Great dart from Brandon. Great standard in this game in the early stages.
Third leg, it's Shane to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, solid. This will be how both the players would have been hoping that the day would start. They both got here very early. Both ensuring that they got the ideal preparation. Nothing was rushed. Shane McGurk was actually throwing darts at 12 o'clock this afternoon.
140.
And yet he still wasn't here as early as Brandon has been for the last 2 evenings.
In Group B, Brandon Weening, as the lights get
60.
turned back on again, he was straight up there. 4 hours worth of preparation. Put his name down with those that are the big practices of the game.
45.
Although I think we had probably the biggest practicer here last year, didn't we? Connor Scott. 8 hours a day, 9 to 5.
It's nice to see players take it as a
100.
job like that and put the hours and the time in the board and block it off. I've seen other professionals take a completely different approach. Fortunate enough to spend a number of years living and sharing a house with Kyle Anderson, who used to do
83.
the complete opposite, if I'm being honest. His practice was darts nights. He was out the house 3-4 nights a week and he was playing competitive action. But the minute we stepped back home, that was his time to relax. That was his time to get in touch with family. Back home, that was his time to think about everything away from darts.
Well, Michael van Gerwen, during his peak in 2016-2017, said exactly the same. He never practiced. And why did he need to? Because he was playing so many darts and he was in so much action. And we are really into the action here. That's the 3rd maximum of the game already, and it's only leg number 3.
Game Sean
He
the
just looks so
third.
assured on the doubles, doesn't he, Shane McGurk? A little nod towards the board. He is feeling magnificent right now. 104 average through the first 3 legs, and he leads this one 2 legs to 1.
I can guarantee you both players are really enjoying and relishing this battle because of their
77.
personalities. They like games like this. They like it when they're hitting and they're being hit back. Keeps you focused. Legs
96.
have been under 15 darts, so that's 5 visits, all with throw. You're forcing your opponent to find a 12 against the darts. And if that continues, Shane McGurk would win on the basis that he's thrown first in this match.
60.
And that's when the balance of the game tips. It no longer becomes about what you've hit. It becomes about what you've missed or the mistake that you've made and open the door for your opponent.
59.
Plenty of folks in here at the Live Lounge this evening. Don't forget, if you want to be here on a Saturday night, head to dartshop.tv to get your tickets.
100.
Always adds that extra element to a Saturday night, doesn't it, when the Live Lounge is nice and full like it is this evening.
150.
Nice little bit of atmosphere. There's a QR code on your screen as well. If you want to get out your smart device, give that a scan. And that will take you through to the website that you need if you want to be here on a Saturday night watching some live action.
100.
Tickets just £5. What fantastic value that is for a night of high quality sporting action.
55. Brandon, you require 164.
Not a high quality leave there though for Shane McGurk. And that gives Brandon Weening a little bit of time, something that's not really been afforded to either player up until this point.
58.
He needed it, you feel, because for the first time now we're going to break that 5 visit to the board range. When you say about counting up mistakes or opportunities, as far as this game's gone, this leg would have been an opportunity for Shane McGurk. Still could be.
Brandon Iron up the ton topper. We saw a 107 from Henry in the previous match. Double 16 for the 106, just outside from Brandon.
Shane, you require 80.
And Shane should get at least a dart at tops here if he keeps them straight. Should step to the left now. Flight's a bit of a blocker.
40. Brandon, you require
Forces
32.
him just to go high. And Brandon back at double 16 once again. Been pretty assured on this week.
Game shown the 4th
And it
leg.
stays like that here
Brandon
on
Weening.
Saturday night.
Yeah, 19
Fifth
darter
leg,
there
it's
for
Shane to
Brandon
throw
Weening,
first.
means he
Gabe.
had 2 extra visits on where this standard has been. Shane McGurk will feel that's a missed opportunity. He had just the 1 dart there, which is always a tricky one with the
60.
angle of entry. Shane McGurk has when he's blocked it, because you've got to go over the dart and then you're almost changing the trajectory of the dart. You're trying to get it to go up to come back down again.
95.
Just didn't get enough drop on that occasion. He came up dry in his opening visit.
45.
That is 6 darts now without a treble. The standard of this game and the way that this game is going, this is a big opportunity for Brandon Weening.
85.
Errant last start, but still advantage Brandon just. He's not a full visit ahead, is he, Matt? But he is a dart ahead against the darts.
97.
What he is, though, is in a position where a power score would be a power play. He can find a 140 or a 180 now. Would give him real control, not just of the leg, but because of where the leg is placed, it would give him control of the match.
He's quite methodical in his setup and approach to the hockey, isn't he, Brandon? But once he does release that first dart, there's a nice fluency to the action.
But what a visit that from Shane McGurk. It had to be pretty much perfect, and it was as good as it could have got. Just rescues the situation, which was just starting to look a little bit bleak for him.
92. Shane number 122.
Should start on the 18s here, McGurk. Needs a treble now. Doesn't get it. So Brandon with a chance at the 129.
Brandon, you require 129.
To break through at the opportune moment. Opted for double-double.
93.
Doesn't pull it off.
Shane, you
And
require
McGurk back for 68. To keep the advantage of throw in his favour.
Game shot.
That's exactly what Shane McGurk does. He's been so clinical this evening, Matt, when he's had a dart double.
3 from 5 on the outer ring. Shane McGurk.
To throw first.
For those of you who deal in a percentage, that is 60% for Shane. It's been a good doubling display from both. Only 9 darts thrown between the pair for the 5 conversions. Average until this point, Shane McGurk 95.92, Brandon Weening 93.28. Safe to say, there is no early nerves from this pair.
42.
If you're Justin Smith in the practice room watching these two go at it, is it a case of, go on lads, go all 7, take as much out of each other, or do you want one to win by a margin so that your job becomes that little bit easier throughout the evening?
Well, when you get to a Saturday night, you sort of don't really look at the other games or the other scenarios until it really affects you. Because Justin Smith will be thinking, I don't really care at the moment what happens between these two, because as long as I win my games, I'm okay. You tend to only look at permutations and possibilities when you lose something. If you're winning all your games, you don't even look at the league table, because you know where you are. You're on the top.
4 from 4 tonight and you take the title.
It's that simple. We just make it more complicated. That the 4th maximum of the match, 2 apiece. But it puts Shane McGurk well and truly within striking range
56.
here.
56. Shane number 147.
The foot to the floor.
And he's got at least 6 darts from here to wrap this one up. Double 16 once again. Double 16, Shane McGurk finds. He gets his Saturday night campaign off to a flying start. A 4-2 victory over Brandon Weening. Been to a Saturday night 6 times before, made it to the final once and beaten in the semi-finals 5 times previous. Is tonight the night? The arrow goes all the way. He started off in superb fashion, a 4-2 victory with a 99 average. We're heading back to Group 1 after the break, where Henry Coates will take on Danny Van Tribe.
Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius? Yes. Let's do it then. Ladies and gentlemen, your MODUS Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Lewandowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new MODUS Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th MODUS Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new MODUS Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th MODUS Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison. The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 MODUS Super Series champion, Scott Taylor.
Time, your new MODUS Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your MODUS Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Nuke, Luke Littler.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where the newly crowned WDF World Champion Shane McGurk has got his campaign off to a winning start on this Saturday evening here at the Super Series. He got the better of Brandon Weaney by 4 legs to 2, averaging just underneath the ton in that match. Once he got control of the game, well, he never really relinquished it, did he? So, into game 3 of the session now, and it sees Henry Coates in action up against Danny Van Tripe. Last time out, Henry was a 4-2 victor against Richie Howson. Howson had won 14 games in a row up until that point, but Coates getting over the line with a 4-2 victory, which means that if he can pick up 3 legs in this particular match, then he will be into the semi-finals a little bit later on this evening. But standing in his way, Danny Van Tripe, his first week here since losing his tour card at the end of 2022, and it's fair to say that he has enjoyed the ride. Earlier on this evening, he caught up with Jack Garwood.
Danny, welcome to Saturday night here at the MODUS Super Series. How are you feeling ahead of tonight's action?
I'm feeling good. It's the first time I play on the Saturday. All the time I was here, I'm not qualified for the Saturday, and I like to play in front of the crowd. Yeah.
How is the crowd going to make a difference to your game tonight, if at all?
Nothing, I think, because I already played at Ali Pelli and 2 weeks ago at Dutch Open, so I like to play in front of the crowd.
We've not seen you here for a while because you've been away on the PDC Pro Tour. What's the level been like, and does it compare to the guys that are in there tonight on this evening?
No, I don't think it's not the same, because the guys on the Pro Tour always throw 95 average, and you can win games with 80 average. It's a short format, so you can lose with a 98 average, but you can win games with a 80 average.
Do you think those 2 years on that Pro Tour have improved your game, or is it time to rebuild a little and get yourself ready to be a pro once again?
I think I have to rebuild myself, because when I played darts in 2022, I think that was my best year, because I could play everything for the Dutch team, Challenge Tour, Pro Tour. And last 2 years I can only play the Pro Tour, and I think my level went down.
Well, perfect. We'll see you how you go this evening, Danny.
Yes, thank you.
116. You can have the 112 to the collection. Tops, and it's in the way. So you knew it was going to go, and it does go. It's match. Van Tripe to finish it off. Works her way around again. It's double 8. It's magnificent. That is what Danny Van Tripe is all about. He's the Super Series version of the Milk Tray Man, isn't he, Danny Van Tripe here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. But Valentine's Day has been and gone, which means if you head to the shop tomorrow, you might get some discounted chocolates. Anyway, to the action here. Danny Van Tripe takes on Henry Coates. It's game 3 of the evening. Let's hand over to Matthew Edgar and Jack Garwood.
Thanks once again, Henry. No chocolates in the shop for me, unfortunately. I'm on a slim. Maybe some for Matt a little bit later. But Henry Coates is back taking on Danny Van Tripe. Match number 3 represents the first chance for somebody to book their spot in the semi-finals. Henry Coates needs just 3 legs to do so, whilst Danny Van Tripe would secure his place in the knockouts with a 4-0 win.
First leg, it's Henry to throw first. Game on.
It's been an ideal placement, this really, I think, for Danny Van Tripe, because he's been able to just stand in the back room, let the night get underway, and now come out while it's all sort of settled in and warmed up. He did allude to the fact, though, that this isn't going to faze him in any way whatsoever. He did play a couple of weeks ago, in fact, in the Dutch Open on the WDF side, which is one of the biggest opens,
97.
or is the biggest open in the world. 5,000 entries into that event. It's a 2-day event. And that not only his stage experience that he's got, because he has played at Ali Pali, like he said, and was successful on debut there. 3-0 against the legendary Steve Beaton before going down to Johnny Clayton in round 2.
Our very own George Noble took part in that this year. Heard good things about the tournament, though. Definitely one to go on the list. That, along with the Benidorm Open, has been a bucket list event since university. Fast start, though, from Danny. Wants tops.
61.
Doesn't quite go, and Henry Coates, his highest finish of the week is a 116. Needs treble 19.
$92. Danny required 20.
Van Tripe coming back for the fast start. Breaker throw on the cards. Breaker throw ticked off. Danny Van Tripe leads Henry Coates by 1 leg to 0.
Second leg, it's Danny to throw first. Game on.
This is the first time that the pair have met this week. And that's because their routes and their methods to get to Saturday night have been completely different. Danny started with us on Monday. This is day number 6 in a row for Danny in regards to his performance. He finished second in a Group A campaign behind Richie Howson, who has already gone down to Henry Coates this evening. That in our opening game. Henry Coates picking up a 4-2 success on that occasion. He then went into Group B, where he booked his place once again in second place.
100.
The same position that Henry Coates found himself in Group C in the afternoons.
You say Danny started us on Monday. He absolutely flew out of the blocks on Monday as well, didn't he?
100
really laid down a marker.
100.20 average 58. It was for Danny Van Tripe on that occasion, which is a 15 darter leg. 5 visits to the board. That takes some beating.
180.
At times this week, it looks like perhaps a little bit of fatigue has set into Danny's game as the week's gone on, but he's here. He's playing on a Saturday night, and he's got the shortest possible evening now, hasn't he? Playing game 2 and 3 in this group. If he is to go all the way, there's no big waiting periods. It's game on, game off, game on, game off for him.
Ideal, isn't it? Perfect. You don't want to be sat around waiting all the time. You want to be up there playing. Up there playing. A little bit of a comfort break. Straight back to the action. That one moved the wire.
20. Henry required
so did Dart 2, but Dart 3 crashed into the flight And there's a chance for Coates to get back level.
Game shown the
Superb
second
dart
leg.
that. Used the
Henry
marker.
Coates.
Typically stacks
Third leg,
underneath the
it's
dart.
Henry to throw first.
But he used that one
Game on.
to his aid brilliantly.
And this is where you'd love to know the thoughts of Danny Van Truyt. When you come out flying and you have a big
50.
leg like he did in the opener and then you make a mess of it. I mean, was it over-aggressive? Was it too aggressive going for the tops in that situation?
100.
I always find tops is a sort of shot that you should really be doing if you've only got 2 darts. But if you've got 3 darts, you're running the risk of throwing one off the board.
We've seen it a few times this week. Mason Whitlock pulled it off in an almost identical
140.
manner to that of which Simon Whitlock did just a couple of weeks ago.
83.
It is interesting how many of those kind of shots have not just crept into the game now, but are seen as the way to go.
Yeah, it weren't that long ago. It was seen as a disrespectful play, a disrespectful
98.
move.
Danny of
Where
121.
now it's sort of the expectation. The game of darts evolves. As does the methods. We've seen the bullseye come into play a lot now with these sort of
Henry
shots.
170.
Not just the bullseye, but
56.
just
Danny
using
Eric
more and more
136.
segments of the board, I feel. The youngsters in the game and the Dutch to
James on the third
generalise quite a bit
Danny
there,
Van
but
Trick.
are fantastic counters where some of the players that have been
For
around a long
Bergen's
time
Danny
are
to throw
perhaps
first.
finding it a little
Game
bit more difficult to change their ways.
Well, who's going to hold the throw here? 3 legs, all with breaks.
123.
Henry will know here that he's got a mini task within the task. This isn't just
81.
about winning the game. You do get drawn into the permutations. As much as you don't want to know, there'll always be someone in the back room that's going to
40.
tell you. Whether it's mind games or whether they're just trying to follow the knight speaking out loud.
45.
Were you a player that liked to know?
I didn't mind either way. I really didn't. I had no
55.
preference. So for me, it was all about if people in the room didn't want to know, then I'd speak about it.
Just trying to gain that edge
96.
in any way that you can.
Oh, absolutely.
I guess that's something that Henry might have to learn on his journey still. Incredibly young,
61.
just 18 years old.
And it is going to be some journey for Henry Coates.
60.
I'm sure we're going to see it unfold quite a lot here at the Super Series this year. We've also got a Rising Stars week as well. Players under 21 years old. A Specials week
100.
coming later in the year, which I think could be the best week we ever have here at the Super Series.
100. Danny Eric 122.
When you think of the talents available that week and the players that would fit the bill, I'm fully with you.
777.
108. Henry
We've
Eric
added his name to
190.
the Roll of Honour of Ton Plus finishers this evening.
Henry might double his tally. Misses the bullseye, though.
Danny Eric 114.
Van Try pops to split. Plays the smart move. If it pulls off,
Game
which he
shot the
does.
fourth leg.
Van Try.
Danny Van Trick.
Double 2 coming to his rescue in the end. Goes 3-1 to the good.
Just a little pause in play
The
there as
Vergets
the
Henry to throw
technology
first.
caught up.
Game on.
It's great, isn't it, technology when it works first time, but you can't just turn it off and on in this situation, and I'm not sure giving it a kick would work either.
140.
I don't think there's any substitute for a pen and paper marker on stage.
140.
It's the only technology that's never going to fail at some point.
95.
That being said, there's only so much of Owen I can put up with, so if me and him had to share the stage in that situation, I think I'll take the TV screen.
131.
Good responses from Henry Coates.
180.
Brilliant response though from Danny Van Tripe.
130.
And from relative comfort, this 130 for Coates. Needs to go, and that's exactly what it does. Henry Coates finds the middle for the 130 checkout. It's his second ton plus checkout of the night. And now he might be 2 legs away from winning this match, but he's only a leg away from booking his spot in the semi-finals. He'll have to do it against the darts.
Extraordinary shot there from an extraordinary talent. Danny Van Tripe was on 86 there to come back and win the match after just 9 darts and didn't get a shot. But this is the experience of Danny. This is what he's gained over the time on the Pro Tour the last couple of years. Sometimes you'll put your A game forward and it's not enough.
140.
You've got to wait till a later stage. Just to be able to brush that off, that's when you've dined at that top table that is the PDC Pro Tour.
$140.
Chance then for Danny to put this one to bed and leave Coates just short of that qualification mark. Doesn't go. Sets up for double 20 though, and this 1-2-1 should go. Not should go, sorry. Needs to go.
And won't. We did tease the possibility of a 9-dart shootout. That could be on still.
40.
It was 4-2 to Henry Coates in his opening game, and he has now gone down by the same scoreline. A sensational game of darts there from Danny Van Tripe and Henry Coates. Henry Coates is not guaranteed to be through. He needed one more leg to book his place in the semi-final, so he's going to have to sit around and wait. Danny Van Tripe puts himself into a strong position with a strong performance just shy of the 98 average there to resist the charge of Henry Coates. He'll be back a little bit later on to take on Richie Howson, but before then we're going to move our attention back to group number 2, and Brandon Weening in a must-win game takes on Justin Smith.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts, but he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
jockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
required
he's gone to
180.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George
require
Scaife wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
required
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy. Couldn't get the job done.
The match! And the Red Dragon
George
MODUS
Skate.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Skate!
Hello, welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. It's a lively crowd in here tonight here at the Live Lounge in Porto. They've had a very enjoyable night worth of darts so far, and they may even get the treat of a 9-dart shooter here on this Saturday evening. And in case you haven't told, we're in Portsmouth, and they won today, didn't they? Right? Indeed they did. It's very boisterous this evening. Before the break, Danny Van Tripe got the better of Henry Coates by 4 legs to set up the possibility of a 9-dart shootout. Next up for us, we're going to see the bearded dragon from Wales in action, Justin Smith. He's the only previous weekly winner in the building this evening. He takes on Brandon Weaning, the Australian on debut. He's in search of a win after losing out to Shane McGurk by, guess what, a 4-2 scoreline in his opening match. Earlier on this evening, Jack Garwood caught up with Justin.
Justin, welcome to finals night here at the MODUS Super Series. How are you feeling ahead of tonight's action?
Yeah, feeling a lot better than what I was maybe Monday, Tuesday, because I haven't been playing darts that much. But yeah, feeling good. Hopefully, just come away with the win.
Yesterday, we probably saw the best of Justin Smith throughout your campaign to make sure you were here on a Saturday night. Do you think that was the culmination of a week of practice under your belt?
Yeah, like I said, lack of practice obviously doesn't show that it helps. But yeah, putting all them hours in obviously this week, I think I did play my best darts, and I think that with the pressure, where the pressure was, I think I did shine a bit more better. So hopefully now there's pressure tonight with the crowd, and I can pull that off again.
Knowing that you delivered in the way that you did yesterday, does that bring you with loads of confidence into tonight?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think a good night's rest as well has helped me. I just went back, had a pizza, blah, 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 whatever, and yeah, I'm just excited to get onto tonight.
Yeah, it's a really competitive group of players in that practice room. Is there anyone in particular you've got your eye on or fearful of?
No, there's not. I suppose they're all good players, especially my group. I didn't even look at the group until I got here, so they can all throw darts, so hopefully I can just come out on top and beat them all.
You have won a weekly title here before, but it was a very long time ago.
Yeah,
not to say very too enthusiastically, but what would it mean to you to add to that this evening?
I think it will mean a lot. I think it'll be a massive confidence boost and maybe give me some more time. Well, I've been practicing, but to go challenge shows and things like that, and UK Open qualifiers or whatever, and hopefully give me the more confidence to go into doing all them.
We'll get that with that tonight, Justin.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you.
Double 16. Well, he's had to rely on Smith here. Looking at the ton, looking at tops. Doesn't like the line because his darts kick up, the flight was in the way, but he manages to one of those where he's got a couple of options here, but it's treble 18 for tops for the 154. Oh, wonderful! Brilliant from the bearded dragon. And he's looking to breathe fire into his campaign, isn't he, Justin Smith? He looked very good yesterday after the first 4 days being a little bit in and out. Right, Justin Smith here would be through with a win. McGurk would also qualify. Wayne Weaning would be through with a 4-0 or 4-1 success in this match. Let's hand up to commentary to Matthew Edgar and to Jack Garwood.
Thanks once again, Henry. Yeah, the sixth and final player we're going to see in action this evening is Justin Smith. Just taking his warm-up darts now. Brandon Weaning is back on stage with his back against the wall a little bit. He would be out with a loss to Justin Smith. Whilst the bearded dragon will get 2 cracks of the whip. Taking on Brandon now before returning to play Justin Smith in the final game of Group 2. It's been an interesting week for Justin, Matt. Perhaps not played his best stuff throughout the 5 days, but when it really mattered, he turned it on Friday.
First leg, it's Brandon to throw first. Game on.
The pressure really was on, wasn't it, on Friday for Justin Smith, and he produced his best. And he alluded to the interview with yourself there, Jack, that actually he feels there might be more pressure on tonight
60.
due to the fact of, obviously, the big carrot at the end of the night in regards to the big paycheck and the golden ticket to
100.
Champions Week. But also the feedback and the reaction, having family and friends here. He'll want to put on a show and put on a performance. So a little bit of extra pressure there for Justin Smith,
60.
which is coming sort of intrinsically as well.
Is he perhaps the player in the group that, we use the phrase,
57.
it depends which Justin turns up, applies to the most? Because everybody else has played at a pretty consistent level this week. The range of averages that they've produced hasn't been too great. But the difference between Justin's A game and B game this week has had a real difference. And if you compare everybody's ceiling game, Justin's is right up there.
42.
Yeah, with Justin Smith, it's one of those interesting cases because I would love to see what happens if Justin Smith applies himself to this sport, because look what he's achieving without doing so. And he was saying the other day about not really practicing much, and maybe this is going to make him start practicing.
36.
And I was sat listening to that interview which he had, and I was thinking, I'm sure I've heard this before with Justin Smith. And this afternoon I had a bit of time on my
98.
hands, and I went into the Super Series archives and found the interviews of previous weeks I've worked with Justin Smith here. And it was true. He was saying the same things then. And there's going to become a point where he's going to have to find that application, which
50.
he keeps wanting to do. But what is it that's going to encourage him to fully commit to this sport? Because he's certainly got the talent and the ability. It's just a case now of
75.
getting that fine-tuning, finding that extra 5 to 10% that's going to make him a regular winner.
Is there a case of, if you can't get motivated in 2025 to kick on
57.
and produce
Just
more,
the 129.
that perhaps it might never happen? Because look, the ADC Global Championship announcement that was made earlier this week is just one of numerous opportunities for non-tour card holders to go out and make a living as a dart player.
Brandon, you require
I
138.
suppose it all depends what motivates you, doesn't it? One of those. Found. Just grazes the
140.
wire of the double 12
Justin,
there
you
to hold
require
on to his throw, and
32.
Justin Smith loves this area of the board.
Game shot on the first leg.
Well, he said there's a bit more
Justin
pressure on it
Smith.
tonight because of that, the reactions, the instant feedback.
Second leg
But
is
he didn't look too
Justin to throw
pleased
first.
with that situation. But going back to your point
Game.
about opportunities, I don't think it's even just opportunities that are going to present themselves now for the non-tour card holders. Let's look ahead and let's speculate for what's
134.
potentially going to happen within the professional ranks as well, because they've just signed that bumper broadcast deal, which means prize money is probably going to be reflected in regards to that, and we're probably going to see
60.
even more investment into the game.
Personally, I think that's a little bit long overdue. Darts is on
60.
such a boom right now. I feel like perhaps the very top of the game is the only place where that hasn't been reflected as much as it could be. We've seen an increase in the number of Pro
60.
Tours this year, the number of Euro Tours. Potentially scope for that to happen again next year. And they're the bread and butter events, aren't they? But it's
140.
those TV events, those carrots that get dangled for all the tour card holders.
That's where you earn your wage. That's where you become a professional player. That's where you get your salary. Oh, that's harsh. That was in the treble 20 there for
75.
Brandon Weening, but
Justin, you have 167.
steel tip darts, it has to be retrieved. In the soft tip world, that would have counted. I like that there. Justin Smith took a little step to the right-hand side, was going to try and force his
57.
way round. Saw the score of Brandon Weening. Didn't have to start getting tricky with things because he's earned the luxury of time.
164.
Superb
Justin,
counting and
110.
execution from Brandon Weening. Justin will still expect to get 6 darts from here, and he's going to need all 6. Not able to find a treble with the first 2 darts.
54. Brandon, number 142.
Tees up a 2-dart. I expect him to come back for 20 double 18. He's absolutely loved that segment as the week goes on. And that's exactly what he will be returning for.
74, Justin number 56.
Loves a double 18, but hates a double 9. It's a very sort of love-hate area for him.
Game shown the
Doesn't need the double 9 though.
Justin Smith.
Which makes it even more surprising, Matt, that one of his top
it's
finishes
Brandon
of the
to
week,
throw
the 1, 2,
first.
3, he
Game
finished on double 9.
Obviously just doesn't feel comfortable there, but also has the all the same size philosophy.
76.
Brandon Weening now getting into the danger zone. He's been on stage already. He lost 4-2 to Shane McGurk. For Shane McGurk, he's probably hoping Justin Smith carries on here and gets the job done, because that would also qualify Shane McGurk while he's sat in the back room.
That's got to be a lovely feeling as a player as well, knowing that your last game's a bit of a free roll, jostling for the throw within the semi-finals, but job done after one, and you can go out and play with that little bit more freedom in front of the crowd.
It's about staying switched on as well. It's very easy to just go out there and, like you say, relax and then try and switch it back on again later. It's, as Shane McGurk said at the start of the night in his interview, you just come here and try and win every single game. Try and ignore all the permutations.
81.
That's for us to work out. That's for us to talk about.
Coming up after this one, we will head back to Group 1, where there is a potential of a 9-dart shootout on the cards.
96.
That would occur if Richie Howson beats Danny Van Tripe 4 legs to 2. It's actually still on the cards here in Group 2 at the moment. It is early days.
58.
Brandon will have to win 4 straight legs from here to tee up that possibility in the final game, as Justin Smith will take on Shane McGurk.
Sometimes how a game breaks down really does
99.
benefit, and Justin Smith took the 2-0 lead and has found nothing here. Just when Brandon Weening would be feeling the night's getting away from him, Justin Smith comes up completely dry here. Just one
56.
treble in 15
Brandon, you
darts.
require 100.
This is the sort of scenario for Brandon where you can just enjoy a leg, have a breather from the barrage that has been coming his way.
80.
Tried the tops route, but we're coming back for double 10.
58.
Justin
Brandon,
not
you
able to put
require
a big dent into
20.
the 2-2-2. Does leave a finish. We have seen the 1-6-4 this week.
Game shown the third leg.
Double 10
Brandon
comes
Weening.
to the aid of Brandon Weening, though. Once he'd finished his process, loves to
Full
kick
leg
up
is
against the
Justin
hockey.
to throw
Make
first.
sure he's set in
Game
place.
on.
A little bit of a step across to make sure he used the first dart as a marker.
75.
It's something we saw in his group campaign, wasn't it? Just controlling the pace at times, Brandon Weening. Just when the game starts to heat up a little bit, just being a bit more deliberate in his approach.
180.
I actually think that's quite a smart tactic, because if you look back at Justin Smith's performances over the week, his best 2 performances for me came against Henry Coates. And in both games, Henry allowed Justin to dictate the pace. They both got on with it. They both played at that fluent rhythm. If I was Brandon right now, taking this thing out of the game is exactly what I'd be looking to do.
44. $60.
That's exactly what he is doing, isn't he? Just easing it up a little bit. Trying to command the stage.
92.
Still in Justin Smith's hands here. Still going to get 6 darts at the 186.
44.
Justin's opened the door a little bit for Brandon here. Would have loved to put a bigger dent into that one.
Yeah, his response to the maximum was perfect with the maximum of his own, but since then not found a single treble. Brandon Weening just running a few mathematics through the mind, making sure he leaves this
63.
handy, and a
Justin
nice
number
pick off there just to save
142.
the shot.
Both players return plus checkouts at one. Go for Justin Smith.
102.
Lovely setup though, uses the board
122.
to his advantage. Brandon will start on the treble 18 segment. Still hunting that treble, doesn't go. And a wild dart at a treble 20 means he doesn't set up tops that he was aiming for. Justin Smith. A wild low one.
Game show on the fourth.
Makes up with it with his third dart. He takes the lead 3-1. And Brandon Weaning is at the point of no return.
When you drag a dart like that first one, it can be unsettling. So, a real good visit there for Justin Smith to be able to recover that situation.
180.
Brandon Weaning to recover the situation and give himself any hope whatsoever of qualifying through to the semi-finals. He's going to have to win the next 3 legs.
Full range of emotions from Brandon there. He approached the oche with a look of determination in him. Hit the 180 and then gave it a little bit of sarcastic, of course. Where has that been?
You know what he's capable of, will Brandon Weaning. And it does become very frustrating when you're not delivering that level of performance of which you expect from yourself. It's been a long week. He's been here since 9:30 on Monday. He'll want to make sure that he can make it pay in his last day here in the UK before heading back home.
140. Brandon require 81.
This 81 doesn't have to go, but it'll make him feel a whole lot better about his current situation.
49.
Tees up double 16. All Smith can do is apply the pressure.
80. Brandon, you require
That bounce
32.
out just gives Brandon that little bit more freedom right now.
There'll be the freedom on the scoreboard. There'll be no freedom in his mind right now because he'll be aware that this means a lot in regards to his week.
On the fifth
That's
leg.
a big last start there for Brandon Weaning, who could easily have felt like the opportunity was slipping away as he was chasing that one around the board. But this is the leg. Brandon Weaning's found 3 maximums so far in this game. He'll be wanting one here. He may need one.
34.
And it's not just his week on the line, is it, Matt? It's pretty much his entire journey. He's been over here. He got here 3-4 weeks early for the Lakeside to get acclimatised. He's been staying with Simon Whitlock. He travelled with his dad, Wayne, as well. Wayne's already gone back to Australia. Brandon's extended his stay for a shot here at the Super Series. And if he's to go home empty-handed from the Lakeside and here, that would certainly change his outlook on the past couple of months in the UK.
96. $54.
Needs 2 trebles, you feel, here. Anything less than that just keeps Justin Smith in control.
45.
Stubborn on the approach there. That looked completely blocked there in regards to trying to get one into the treble 20, and no surprise there to see him lose the line.
97.
Big last start there. He knows it.
158, not an ideal checkout. But it's one that might need to go.
180, Justin, 158.
I said he's going to need to find a 180 in this leg when Justin Smith kicked off with a 134 and he's found it.
His 4th and 5.5 legs of darts. Needs to find at least one more treble here as he eyes up the Shanghai. Doesn't go, and Justin Smith with the match-winning opportunity to book his spot in the semi-finals and take Shane McGurk with him. Tops for Smith.
40.
2 match starts come and gone for Justin Smith to guarantee passage to the semi-final. Brandon Weaning, a reprieve, a second wind, another opportunity. And he's going to get 2 darts himself at tops. Inviting.
Game shown
The perfect marker at the perfect time for Brandon Weening. Uses that first starter double tops to his aid.
Final leg, it's Brandon to
Flicks
throw
off the
first.
flight.
Game on.
And now he's got a chance to throw for this match and keep himself alive.
– 3-1 down. It was all looking very bleak for Brandon
43.
Weening. Right now, he would be favourite, or he would have been, had he not opened up dry.
100.
Literally living and breathing every single dart along with Justin Smith.
Sometimes the friends and family go through a heck of a lot more emotions than the players themselves.
Oh, it's so much worse because you've got no control. You're literally sitting and hoping.
65.
Just willing your player on.
Nothing really to separate the pair after 6, which gives Brandon Weening a big advantage because he's got the throw. Certainly now.
135.
Just caught the flight on the way in. Looked likely there he was going to get his 5th maximum of the game.
This wouldn't be night over for Justin Smith, but it would be a big opportunity to book his spot in the semi-finals. Missed out on. Goes through that process once again, does Brandon.
97.
Coming back for a 2-darter. It won't guarantee his safety.
Brandon, you
He
require
will still need things
92.
to go his way in the final match of this group between Justin Smith and Shane McGurk. But this is a chance for Brandon to stay alive. 2 darts at double 16. He only needs the one. Brandon Weening produces the escape trick. He gets the better of Justin Smith by 4 legs to 3. He was up against it in that one. Could have booked his spot in the semi-finals with a big enough margin of victory, but Justin Smith made sure that wasn't a possibility with his fast start. We're heading back to wrap up things in Group 1 now, as Danny Van Tripe takes on Richie Howson on the other side of this ad break.
Welcome back to the action here at the MODUS Super Series, where so far tonight we've seen 4-2 wins for Henry Coates and Danny Van Tripe in Group 1, whereas Brandon Weening kept his hopes of making it through Group 2 alive before the break with a 4-3 success against Justin Smith. That was after he lost to Shane McGurk 4-2 in the opening match of that group. Right, to the conclusion of Group 1 now, and there's a possibility of a 9-dart shootout. If Richie Howson wins by 4 legs to 2, guess what? We're going to have it once again, and it'd be the third time Richie Howson would be involved in one. As for Henry Coates, that's the only way he could be eliminated. He'd be through with any other outcome. Richie Howson would be through with a win of 4-1 or 4-0. Danny Van Tripe needs 3 legs to confirm his status through to the semi-finals a little bit later on this evening. Richie Howson was the favourite before a dart was thrown, but he could be on the cusp of elimination here. Let's hand over to your commentary team of Matthew Edgar and Jack Garwood.
Thanks, Henry. Yeah, it's a bit like a riddle, this one. When do you win but not win? Well, that'll be Richie Howson's case if he wins this match by 4 legs to 3. Danny just needing...
First leg, it's Danny to throw first. Game on!
3 legs to secure his passage into Saturday night. And he has the advantage of throw in this final Group 1 match.
So many possibilities, isn't there, and so many different outcomes for this, but I think the worst thing right now, or the worst position to be in, would be
45.
That of Henry Coates, because you're just sat backstage, you're hoping for different outcomes, you're hoping to get that passage straight through. I mean, the one thing for Henry is he's not really going to be taken out as such, is he? He's always going to have the opportunity with the 9-dart shootout as sort of a minimum opportunity. But I don't think anyone really wants to be involved with it. I want to see one. I enjoy them. I love the jeopardy. But I don't think any player really would enjoy a 9-dart shootout.
It is very likely, though, that Henry would finish second in this group. So, in some crazy way, is he possibly craving the 9-dart shootout for a chance to finish first? Or is it such a risk to go home?
Yeah, I think he just wants to get through. That's the most important thing, isn't it? Certainly when you hear on debut like Henry Coates is.
He did win against the darts against Richie in match number 1. So he's clearly
100. And he required
capable.
106.
Danny Van Tripe, very capable of taking out the 106.
Danny Van Tripe.
And it's advantage the Dutchman.
Second
He's just 2 legs away from qualifying now.
He was rock solid, wasn't he, Danny, in his opening game. 4-2 victory over Henry Coates, 3 180s, 97.75 the average. He did resist a very strong charge from Henry Coates at the back end of that game as well. For Richie Howson, for him to guarantee his passage through, there are only 2 possibilities. A 4-1 or a 4-0 success. Those 2 possibilities have already been halved. If Richie Howson wants to guarantee his place in the semi-finals, he's going to need to win the next 4 legs.
Considering how rare 9-dart shootouts are here at the MODUS Super Series, Matt, if we see a third one that includes Richie Howson tonight, what are the odds on that?
Maybe he just enjoys them. He'll enjoy that.
180. $91. Richie require 81.
Big last dart treble from Danny. Might force Howson to attack the bullseye. When he's had time on his hands throughout the rest of the week, he's used treble 10, double 16.
55. Danny require 170.
And shows Van Tripe the full respect. But the Owl will be coming back.
60. Richie require 26.
Had a little issue on the right-hand side of the board this week. Double 10 has not been his biggest friend.
18.
Double 13 and double 4 both on the right-hand side as well.
Oh, hold on a moment. He's just took out a big tumblers finish. That would have been painful for Richie Howson, because it would have took it completely out of his hands.
Game show the second leg.
Big
Richie
second dart
Housen.
from Richie Housen gets us level.
Third leg, it's Danny to throw first. Game on.
Keeps it in his hands. Just what you want as a player. Doesn't matter how big the task is, you just want the opportunity.
Was just a holder throw for Richie.
140.
Now he needs to find that all-important break.
$95.
Not an easy task against Danny. He's scoring with the power that he is.
He's looking like he's really enjoying the battle as well here, Danny Van Tripe. We've seen him at times be a little distracted. We've seen him with the head down, but tonight, still at the back of the stage, standing tall, peering over the shoulder of Richie Housen, just really enjoying this head-to-head clash. A player that's enjoying himself is a very dangerous player.
140.
Two trouble visit from Housen. Doesn't leave a finish though, so it is still advantage Danny from here. It's 6 from 208.
100.
A really important treble with the third and final dart. Gets him on to a makeable ton plus finish.
125.
He's had one of these sort of shots in every single leg.
Get a dart, a double 16.
Once
again, like a dagger to the heart of Richie Housen. Danny Van Tripe goes 2 legs to 1 up with his second ton plus of the match. 2 from 3 on the outer ring so far. That third dart that he missed was for another ton plus checkout.
100.
And we now know that Richie Housen cannot guarantee his passage to the semi-final with any result here. He does have that backup of the potential 9-dart shootout, but he cannot afford to lose another leg. If he loses another leg, this group is done.
100.
Danny's had a little bit of an issue at closing out matches this week.
95.
Will we see that again from this situation? Knowing that he only needs one more leg. Certainly doesn't look it so far. Leaves 1-2-1 after 9 darts. Housen needs a big score.
60. Danny
Troublous once again. And Van Tripe has the opportunity to book his spot with another ton plus checkout. Double 18.
85. Richie Rick 140.
It's troublous. He was nearly powerless there, Richie Housen. But he's got to hope. He's got to stand, cross the fingers, cross the toes, because Danny Van Tripe, 3 darts here to eliminate Richie Housen from the competition.
Game show on the 4th leg.
With a 14-dart leg there, Danny Van Tripe continues his impressive form. He averaged 97.75 in the first game. He's running in this one at 100.88. Far too strong on this night for Richie Housen, who,
100.
like many people who have won that Group A, are going to fall in the group stages when it comes to finals night.
100.
He adjusted his routine in the week. He was here a few weeks ago during the League of Legends. Steve beat him on that Group A campaign.
100.
Richie was telling me on Tuesday evening that he had a conversation with Steve when they got back here on Saturday. Steve admitted to not really picking up his darts while he was back home for 2 days. And Richie was determined not to make the same mistake. Put up a brand new Windmile Blade 6.
125.
Hit a 9-darter in practice. A year and a day after his last one at home in practice as well.
So there was some good omens there for Richie Howson, but you probably didn't expect to run into this ton-plus average here from Danny Van Tripe, who's been exceptional tonight.
136.
And the star performer of the show so far.
Yeah, this is the Danny that we saw open the show on Monday morning.
140. Danny require 40.
Might be Danny to close this Group 1. Double top.
Game
First start in hand for Danny Van Tripe.
Danny Van Tripe.
Favourite for the evening is gone in the group stage. Richie Howson loses to Danny Van Tripe 4 legs to 1 and exits at the group stage. He'll be heading to the Circus Tavern next, but it's Danny Van Tripe who progresses from Group 1 with a 103 average, 57% on the outer ring, 2 ton-plus checkouts. That could have been 4. Danny was on absolute fire in that one. We'll be back after the break where we see the final game in Group 2, Justin Smith taking on Shane McGurk.
Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes.
Let's do it then. Ladies and gentlemen, your MODUS Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Labanowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new MODUS Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th MODUS Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new MODUS Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th MODUS Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 MODUS Super Series champion, Scott Taylor.
One more time, your new MODUS Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your MODUS Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Nuke, Luke Lidlow!
So this is what we've seen tonight to the MODUS Super Series. Danny Van Tripe secured his passage through with a 4-1 success against Richie Howson before the break. So that means he is 2 wins and 2, and by doing so he has taken Henry Coates through with him. So we're going to dot the I's and cross the T's as far as Group 2 is concerned. The winner will be through. If Justin Smith wins 4-3 or 4-2, Wayne Weaning will be out. If Smith wins 4-1 or 4-0, McGurk is out. Justin Smith with any defeat will be eliminated. Brandon Weaney, sorry, that is. In commentary, it's Jack Garwood and Matthew Edgar.
Yeah, I hope you got your pen and paper out and wrote all those down. Lots of different possibilities in regards to the direction of this group. Brandon Weaning will be sat in the back room now, just watching the monitor, hoping. He says he doesn't like to work out all the permutations, but right now it's a tricky situation because you don't know whether to practice, whether to watch. But one thing he'll be doing is he'll be hoping for certain outcomes to happen here to guarantee his passage through to the semi-finals. We'll let you know.
First leg, it's Justin to throw first. Game on!
Keep you updated with everything as it all unfolds with the live action.
58.
But a lot of it really does depend on, one, if Justin Smith wins, and two, by what score.
100.
Yeah, this is one where we need all the fingers and toes out. Maybe we can borrow Kelvin O'Keefe's Casio as well.
I don't think we should use that one. It didn't seem to be working for him very well.
180. 100.
Justin Smith's been the maximum man throughout the week, but Shane McGurk getting in the action
56.
nice and early here. Means he's first to a finish.
He was so good, wasn't he, Shane McGurk, in
97. Chain number 164.
his opening game. That was the second game of the night. Feels like quite a while ago, actually, since Shane McGurk was last on the stage.
104. Justin number 106.
Tees up nicely. It's been a night of ton plus finishing so far. Justin Smith won't add to that.
58. Chain number 160.
Not as eye-catching, but very
Game
important
showed the
and
first
very
leg.
well delivered there from Shane
McGurk.
McGurk.
Second leg,
He
it's
just
Shane
looks
to throw
so
first.
imperious over those two dark combinations right now.
Well, Shane McGurk would be eliminated here if Justin Smith was to win this game by 4-0 or 4-1. He now can't win it by 4-0. So, unless Justin Smith goes on a rampage here and wins the next four legs, Shane McGurk is in a
47.
very good position. Just not getting that bubbly vibe, though, here from Justin Smith. He's a very lively character, isn't he? And almost just looking a little dejected at
60.
times. And there you can see the reaction to the trebleless visit. Just feels a little bit flat at the moment for the Welshman.
58.
Do you think part of that is the manner of defeat in his previous game against Brandon Weaning? He had qualification in his own hands.
He did, but that might be the spark that he needs. He needs something to light the fuse. But even then, he's sort of shaking his head after the maximum. Sometimes you can throw good darts, but you just don't feel right.
96.
And for a player like Justin Smith, who plays with freedom, plays with fluency, he also needs to play with trust.
45. Chain number 140.
We've seen him search for that a little bit this week, haven't we? Tinkered with his flights a couple of times. We've seen the blue ones 2 or 3 times this week. Keeps going back to these ones.
60.
Are they going to be the ones to dig him out of trouble in this match? McGurk will be back for 88.
81. Chain number 88. Game shown the second leg.
Once again,
Shane
the finishing
McGurk.
from Shane McGurk is excellent. 2 from 3 on the doubles in this one now.
Third leg, it's Justin to throw first. Game on.
And all of a sudden, Brandon Weaning's allegiance has changed a little bit.
100.
Well, we're starting to unfold it a little bit, aren't we, in regards to the destiny of this group. We now know Shane McGurk is qualified. He is through. So now, who's going to be going with him? Is it going to be Brandon Weening, who's in the back room watching on? Or can Justin Smith save the situation?
Reminder, if Smith wins this one 4-3 or 4-2, Brandon Weening will be the player to depart.
136.
And he's been watching that one through the gaps in his fingers, because that could have been the spark to get Justin Smith back in this match. However,
87.
McGurk misses a dart at the bull as well.
Justin, you require 25.
It will be 9-8 for Justin. Or it should have been.
Well, that was the intention. But this is getting desperate now here for Justin Smith.
21.
This could be big troubles here, because
37.
Shane McGurk now an opportunity for the double breaker throw. The way his doubling's been tonight, you'd expect 2 darts will be more than enough. And he only needs the 1.
Shane McGurk.
There's been a quality night of performance here from Shane McGurk so far. 4 from 6 on the doubles in his opening game, and he's 3 from 5 here. Justin Smith now needs to win every single leg. And this is the point Brandon Weening in the back room will go get his darts and start his preparations, because he'll fancy Shane McGurk to get the job done here.
60.
I think most people watching at home will do as well. Shane McGurk has been brilliant once again.
60.
You can just see the confidence oozing out of him as well, can't you? If you lined all 6 players up from shortest to tallest in the evening, Shane McGurk will be right at the bottom. But right now, he's walking around that stage like he's 10 foot tall.
100.
I think it was one of my first observations this evening, actually, with Shane McGurk. I said there's a little bit of swag.
60.
Very similar to what we saw at Lakeside. Walking around like he owned the place, but without arrogance. Confident swagger.
42.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to boil over into disrespect at any time, does it? It's just a quiet confidence in his own ability that no matter what is thrown at him this evening, Shane McGurk has enough in the tank to deal with it.
Oh, there'd never be anything disrespectful about Shane McGurk. It's not within his nature. Very, very respectful, humble. And a good champion for the WDF. And he could be the champion here tonight.
Great marker. Down to double 10.
20.
And for the first time this evening, and probably since Thursday,
Justin, you require 100.
Shane McGurk got a little edgy with those 3 darts.
A rare miss.
What a brave dart that was. For double 16.
68.
Many players would have gone tops in that situation. Justin has loved double 16 so far, but it's double 10 for McGurk to end the Welshman's hopes. How far over can he get to use that barrel? Far enough is the answer. Shane McGurk is the 4th and final player into the semi-final stage. He takes Brandon Weening with him. Justin Smith departs from Group 2 alongside Richie Howson, who was unsuccessful in Group 1. The Lakeside champion putting on a bit of a show on the outer ring this evening so far, as he moves closer to potentially winning his first weekly title. Just under 90 average for McGurk in that one, a 4-0 win. We're off for a quick ad break before we get the semi-finals underway in a short while.
54. Charlie Maguire, 164. 44. 32. Charlie require 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
require
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage,
Charlie
approaching the
require
hockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
require
he's gone to
118.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George
require
Gay wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia require
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Got
Couldn't
it,
get the job
got
done.
it, the match! And the Red Dragon
George
MODUS
Skate.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Skate!
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where the semi-finals are set in stone. It's Danny Van Tripe against Brandon Weening, while Shane McGurk would take on Henry Coates. That's after a group stage. We saw Danny Van Tripe and Shane McGurk win both of their matches in groups 1 and 2, respectively. Henry Coates and Brandon Weening taking the other wins there. Matthew Edgar has been watching all of the action in the commentary box, and he's alongside me here in the studio now to assess what we have seen in the group stages. Now, Richie Howson was the favourite to make it through, but didn't win a game. What would be your assessment of his evening before we talk about those who did make it through?
He wasn't the favourite to make it through. It's the favourite to win the night. He was a favourite to be the champion here, and he hasn't made it through. And I think that's a familiar story we get in this series. Last year, in the world of darts, it was the year of the underdog, where it appears to be transmitting itself now to the Super Series, where this could be the year of the underdog here in 2025. He played okay, he played well, but he just ran into a couple of big performances tonight, and he'll be back again later in the year to try and get his hands on one of these weekly titles.
And with Justice Smith going out, it means there's going to be a brand new player lifting that trophy a little bit later on the season. Let's talk about the runners and riders and kick off with Danny Van Tripe, because so far he's been the player of the evening, and there is no doubting that.
Yeah, it's quite close between him and Shane McGurk in regards to sort of the level of a control, but in regards to the pure ability and the ceiling and the consistency, the checkouts, everything, Danny Van Tripe's been well and truly in control. And I noticed a very big demeanour change in Danny tonight. He sort of looked a little bit looking around the room a little bit, maybe getting a bit distracted at times, sometimes trying to force the issue, head down, staring at the darts, looking at the floor. Tonight he's engaged with the game, and that can come down to the fact there's a crowd in here tonight. It gives him something that he's then got a focal point that comes a little bit more narrow. When you play in the week, you're in a big empty room. You literally got the space all the way to the back of the room, where it feels a bit smaller on a Saturday night because obviously the crowd's sitting very close to the front of the stage. It changes where you view things. It changes where you look and where the perception is on the eyes. And Danny's been able to engage purely in battle. We see him at the back of the stage tonight, peering over the shoulder, just watching, enjoying it, embracing it. And that's brought out his best darts.
He mentioned in an interview with Jack Garr before the session got underway how much he likes to embrace the fact when he plays in front of crowds. We saw that walk-on at the Dutch Open, which was, well, cringy dad dance worthy. And then that appearance at the World Championship as well against Steve Beaton. There's proof that he can play well when it comes to an environment like this. And he seems to be the type of character that when it gets to an environment like this where he really feels like he can show off, he will do that.
Yeah, and we may still see that come from him. Yeah, one of the things we've seen tonight and what we've seen in the week from Danny is when someone lays it up to him, he can respond. And that's the years he's had on the Pro Tour, 2 years there. There was a situation tonight, 3-1 up, Henry Coates hits back, 12 dart, a 130 finish, hits strong in the next leg. It didn't faze him. And it wouldn't faze him because he's seen it all. He's seen it all for the last couple of years. Sometimes, certainly when you're on that Pro Tour, your A game just isn't enough. Someone just does the same or hits something in one of those moments, you miss a shot. So there'd been times where he would have served it up to someone and been hit back harder, and you just brush it off. You just get in that mode of almost immune to that scenario, and that's what we saw there, and it was a good sign to see.
And if you haven't seen that Danny Van Tripe walk-on, why don't you head on to YouTube and this session's done and watch something else? Henry Coates, the other player that made it through that particular group, got off to a really good start against Richie Howson. And as you mentioned, the brilliance of Danny just shone through in his second game.
It has, and for Henry, he's not done anything wrong. It's been the same sort of level of performance that we saw in his Group C campaign. But my fear now for Henry Coates is that he's not stepped it up. Now, he's got a very good level. He's running just shy of a 90 average for the entire week. It's been incredible. But there's a couple of big hitters in here now in Danny Van Tripe and in Shane McGurk who are playing well. And they have really brought it here tonight. Now, if Henry Coates is to get further than this, he's going to have to step it up again. And the question is now, can he? Can he find that A game when he needs it the most?
In terms of the other group, it was a group that was dominated by the WDF World Champion Shane McGurk. He put in a couple of really good performances there. It looks like we've got a Van Tripe McGurk collision course if the other two players aren't careful.
I don't think it's so much about the other players, because if Shane McGurk continues how he's been playing and Danny Van Tripe continues how he's been playing, they will be on for the final regardless of what happens with the other two. Now, that's obviously them to try and disturb that. I mean, they've also got the advantage of throw, which could be huge. Short format game, when you're playing someone who's got that great form, the advantage of throw can be a real telling factor. Shane McGurk, other than winning that game, his doubles, his checkouts, his combinations have been absolutely brilliant tonight. Until missing those doubles at the end of the game, he was in the high 90 average. He's a very dangerous customer. He's got confidence tonight. He's shown that yesterday. And I think this is going to be the start of the year now for Shane McGurk. He's had a little bit of time off after picking up that Lakeside title, the WDF World Championship. And rightly so. So. Go and enjoy the moment. Go look at the extra zeros in the bank account. Embrace what that is. And I just think at the minute, because that came in a situation you didn't expect it to. He didn't think he was going to win that world title. And now he has. I think he looks at it and it's sort of reevaluating the plans. I don't think he had this on the sort of run sheet for 25. And it's sort of probably reevaluate after this week.
In terms of Brandon Weening, how would you assess his progress through the night? He kind of squeaked through that Group 2 in the end.
He did in Group B as well, but he's still here. He's still here. And that will be his philosophy on this. I'm still standing. And he sat up here, didn't he, at the end of the show, and he says, I can only take it one game at a time. He has to buy into that philosophy now more than ever. Because if he starts looking at this and going, I'm just squeezing, I need to step it up, I need to do this, that's where the problems lie. He has to buy into and practice what he's preaching now. He said it's one game at a time. That's what he has to buy, and if he does buy that, it could be a danger.
And all the players are 2 games away from glory this week. We'll talk about the semi-finals in just a second, but this is the list of players that have already confirmed their place through to Champions League. And it really is a Champions League already that is littered with opportunity. Alex Small won week 1, Jensen Walker won week 2, and Sam Spivey last week. They're all debutants when it comes to Champions League, and that will get underway on Monday, April the 21st. You can watch that live and exclusive on Pluto TV. But back to tonight, we have a couple of semi-finals for you here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth following the completion of the group stage action. We'll kick off with Danny Van Tripe up against Brandon Weening, and then we'll follow up with Shane McGurk up against Henry Coates. Let's talk about the first semi-final between Danny and Brandon. Now, some would say it'd be as simple as it's a Danny and Shane final if they both play to type, and the numbers would prove that. But what can Brandon do against Danny which could give him a chance of winning that match?
The most important thing he can do is be true to himself. Understand what's got him here. Understand what's made his best starts come through. He's had a lot of guidance from a player who's won on this stage before, Raymond Smith. He will tell him control the controllables. He's in the semi-finals. Take his time. Now, Brandon Weening, I don't always advocate for people taking their time. I think everyone needs to play at their own pace. But Brandon Weening, when the pressure rises, when the heart rate goes up, he's very good at managing that just by taking a little bit of pace out the game. He's got to keep going with that. He can't let the adrenaline come in and let the emotions dictate his pace. He needs to keep that in check tonight.
In terms of the second semi-final, how important could the experience be for Shane McGurk in that one?
Massive. Absolutely massive. Shane McGurk doesn't have just experience here, he's got it on a worldwide stage now. The other thing is he becomes a bit of a scalp as well, a bit of an opportunity. For Henry Coates, he's got it all to play for here. He's got a chance to beat the reigning WDF World Champion. He's got a chance to make the final here on his debut and a chance to pick up a sizable amount of money as well. He'll find inspiration from those who have come before him. Thomas Banks, Jensen Walker, Luke Littler. He'll know it's achievable. The pathway has been made. Now can he walk it?
Does it look like the 2 favourites for these semi-finals, and Danny and Shane, are big favourites for the semi-finals?
I personally see it that way, but on the same aspect, before a dart was thrown tonight, you wouldn't have really had any sort of comfortable or confident prediction on any way this night's going to go in the direction. So that being said, we know Brandon Weening's got quality, average 108. We know Henry Coates is a bit of a flair, enigma style player. So as much as the likelihood is we see Shane McGurk, Danny Van Tripe in the final, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't.
Someone's going to lift that trophy for the first time tonight. Who is it going to be? We are about to find out here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. 2 semi-finals for you in the next few minutes before the final will take place later on this evening. And the fact that nobody's won this title before, I know McGurk's won a Lakeside title, Van Tripe's won numerous Challenge Tour titles, but the fact they haven't won in this building yet, how much does that open a door? Because they will know that there's going to be a new winner of this competition tonight.
It matters to certain people, it doesn't matter to others. The 4 players that are in here, I guarantee you it won't matter. These are 4 confident characters who believe they belong with that trophy in their hands. And because of that reason, I don't see it being a factor.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how these semi-finals pan out here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. We're just awaiting the players to get out there. In terms of this prep time, what's it like?
This is exciting. This is the moment that you really do sort of see the finishing line in sight. You see the opportunity. This is what you play for. You don't come here to play darts at 9:30 on a Monday morning. You come here to play here right now and get that opportunity to play here. They've put a lot of work into this, and they're going to want to cash it in.
Interestingly, the reason why there's just a slight delay to proceed is because Simon Whitwell's decided, you know what, I fancy a night here at the Super Series, and the walk-on area is absolutely littered with fans. There he is. And Mason's there too. They're all wanting a picture with the wizard there. So the semi-finals are about to get underway once the Simon Whitlock autograph session has been completed, and it is going to kick off with a meeting between Danny Van Tripe and Brandon Weening, who's into the semi-finals, and that's the man that the Whitlocks are looking to cheer on. At long last, we can get these underway.
For Danny to close this Group 1 double top. First start in hand for Danny Van Tripe.
Danny Van.
This is the chance for Brandon to stay alive. 2 darts at double 16. He only needs the 1.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the MODUS Super Series here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. It is time to meet the semi-finalists. Would you please welcome to the stage? He is the current Pacific Masters champion. It's Brandon Weaning, and he is a 2-time former PDC Challenge Tour winner, Danny Van Tripe.
Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, they ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you. Baby girl love my bop and I like me too.
Well, the game will get underway as soon as Danny Van Tripe tells Owen Binks how many challenge tours he's won in his career. Anyway, the multiple winner on that circuit takes on Brandon. It's all good fun between the pair. It's all a bit of fun, all a bit of banter, but the serious business is about to begin. It's semi-final number 1. It's Van Tripe against Weaning. Matthew Edgar is alongside Jack Garwood in commentary.
Thanks once again, Henry. Yeah, the business end of the night starts now. Win or go home action. Starting with our first semi-final. Danny Van Tripe, the 28-year-old. Taking on Brandon Weaning, just 26 years of age. In fact, Richie Howson's the only player over the age of 30 in action this evening, Matt. It's been a very youthful evening of darts so far. And that will continue into the semi-finals.
Yeah, welcome to modern day darts. It's becoming a younger man's game every single year. We're seeing more teenage stars come through, and sort of the age of peak is coming a little bit younger.
Danny to throw first. Game on.
Makes me an old man now.
Well, this has been the man, hasn't it, so far tonight? Danny Van Tripe has been the standout performer, averaging 97.75 and 103.54 in his victories. Them against Henry Coates and Richie Howson.
Are you surprised perhaps that we haven't seen this level a little bit more from Danny at times this week?
No.
26.
And the reason for that is I think he's the sort of player that really embraces and enjoys these sort of moments, these sort of high intensity, high pressure sort of games.
140.
I don't think it suits him playing for 2 points at 10:15 on Monday morning.
45.
But you've got to go through those moments to get to moments like this. It's the same with the tour, isn't it? For me, my mind goes straight to a player such as Kevin Painter. If you remember in the past, Kevin Painter traditionally would play so much better on the TV stages than he would on the Pro Tour, but without playing on the Pro Tour, you don't get to the TV stages.
Dimitri van den Berg is the modern day equivalent, isn't he? On TV stages, he is magnificent, but there are times where you wonder if he's even going to make it that far.
Yeah, very good example, very good comparison there. The reigning UK Open champion.
Former match play champion.
57.
After 12 darts here, Brandon Weaning has got an opportunity to beat Danny Van Tripe in the opening leg.
Game shot the
Free flowing
first
action
leg.
of Weaning gets him off the
Brandon
mark
Weaning.
in this semi-final. Taking the first leg.
Second leg, it's Brandon to throw first. Game on.
It's impressive to see someone who is still relatively early in their career have such a pre-shot routine that they stick to every single time. Someone that we've seen here a number of times in the past in Ted Evans is someone who perhaps diverts away from that at times.
60.
But Brandon's is the same every single time. Kick up against the oche, brings the dart up quite slowly for the first visit, but once that first dart is out the hand, the other two follow along at a fair
59.
pace.
That is Mason Whitlock. Played in a Group C campaign. Probably would have been thinking he would be getting his first appearance here on a Saturday
100.
night. Came into the second day of action on 6 points. But a disappointing Friday means he is in the stands tonight watching Brandon Weening enjoy his last night here in the UK.
60.
What a difference that would make to the 24-hour flight home tomorrow as well if Brandon Weening was to pick up the first prize this evening.
100.
And no, he's got to come all the way back to Portsmouth in a few weeks' time. We have had a former Australian series winner in Raymond Smith.
58.
Someone who's been offering a lot of guidance and advice and support to Brandon Weening, certainly when they was representing in the World Cup just last year.
100.
We yet to see Raymond back on that stage, though. Something I'm quite keen to see happen in 2025. To steal a boxing term, does that make him the lineal MODUS Super Series champion?
141.
We're going to get all complicated now, aren't we? Well, nothing complicated about this situation here, though, for Brandon
85.
Weening.
Brandon, you require
Take out 100, and you're halfway to victory. We've seen him use tops a lot tonight, opting to change
60.
the plan.
Danny require 56.
Something you're just saying we don't see too often in regards to people sticking to things.
46.
Danny Van Tripe is nowhere
Brandon,
near the
you
level we
require
saw in match
40.
number 3 and match number 5 this evening, where he was dominant in the group stages.
Some 20 points down on his average for this evening.
Game shown the
And he
second
faces a
leg.
2-0 deficit to Brandon Weening here in the semi-finals.
Third leg, it's Danny to throw first.
Pressure on the Dutchman now to hold his throw.
140.
Brandon Weening's been saying all week, game at a time, match at a time, leg at a time. With that in mind, you just have to have completely brushed off everything that happened earlier on. His very narrow passage through and the brilliance of Danny Van Tripe just goes to show how much every single game is different.
Not just a narrow passage through to this stage, but a narrow passage through to Saturday night as well. He entered the final day of group action in a pretty good position. Lost his first 3 matches. Was able to defeat Kelvin O'Keefe in the final match of Group B to make sure he was here on Saturday night. Not quite the same smoulder as the Conan Whitehead stare there from Richie Howson.
96. Danny require 81.
His attention moves now to the audience and enjoying the rest of the action. Richie Howson,
41.
just like us, wants to see who is going to pick up the Week 4 title. Danny Van Tripe starting to refine that form he found earlier on. Less tops after 12.
How many times have you and Henry said that this week?
134. Danny required 40.
When he's on, he's on.
Game shown the third leg.
He's had a lot of
Danny
success
Van
this week
Tripe.
on that target. He's in the semi-final. He's up and running.
Fourth leg,
But
it's
he
Brandon
does need
throw
to find
first.
a big
Game
leg like that. That was a 13 darter for Danny Van Tripe. You feel like he's going to need something very similar if he's going to get the breaker throw he needs here.
55.
Started the match without needing a break, but losing that opening leg puts him behind the 8 ball.
140.
Brandon just taking a moment to take the sting out of this a little bit. That superb 13 dart leg from Danny in the previous leg. Backed up with a 140 to open. A moment just to reset from the Python. And he fires in the first maximum of the game.
140.
Knows his way around the dartboard as well this week. Should use the 19 segment now. Or the 16s.
96.
And you summarised it well there when you said taking the sting out. Exactly what we described Brandon Weening as all week, and exactly what we said he needed to be doing in this game if he is going to keep that feeling of control.
Justin Smith in the crowd as well. Himself and Richie obviously would love to still be competing, but it's great to see them stick around and support the final 4 players.
$67. Brandon, you require
Won't be cheering the first 2 darts from Danny there, but it's a lovely third dart to put himself on a 2-dart combination. Brandon Wiener needed the second treble to get a dart at a double. And from such a strong position, Brandon Wiener could find himself level.
Game shot the
Danny Van Tripe with a 15 dart leg levels us up at 2 apiece. It's advantage Van Tripe now.
Gets Danny to throw
Gets the breaker throw back. And in a match that is now reduced to a best of 3, it is Van Tripe who has the advantage of throw.
Well, what we saw from Danny Van Tripe in the start of the evening was very impressive because it was a very strong, dominant performance. I would say this is more impressive, what we're seeing right now, because it's okay when everything's going great and you just run in and everything's rosy, but when you've got to dig deep like he has here, 2-0 down, and then to find an even bigger performance, I think this is more impressive.
85.
Especially as there's an element of a comfort blanket in playing in the group stage, isn't there? There's 2 shots to get yourself through. You know the permutations by the time you play the second time, but this is lose and go home darts. This is knockout darts. And if this doesn't go your way, all the effort that you've put in for 5 days in the group stages, then 2 games to make sure you're in these semi-finals,
140.
could have been undone by 2 slow legs for Danny to start this match.
And when you're at this stage, your mind does wander. You do start to think about that big prize at the end of the week, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
140. Danny Rock 136.
Can't take the 136.
96. Brandon
Brandon on the awkward 139. One of the worst checkouts on the board, this one. It just doesn't break down to a nice double.
But look where Danny is again. Tops after 12.
107.
This is not a repeat.
40.
If I get you in the Secret Santa this year, I'm printing that on a T-shirt.
No score.
Well, he got down, he got his opportunity, but 3 missed darts here have opened the door for Brandon Weening. And this is the key time to break.
Game shot the
13 darter there to break the throw. Danny Van Tripe's in trouble. Brandon Weening now gets that luxury of just commanding the hockey, commanding the stage, leaving Danny at the back of the stage pondering what went wrong. And what went wrong is very easy to see. 3 missed darts at his favoured tops.
It really is amazing how quickly a game of darts can change, especially in such a short format. At 2-0 down, this was Brandon Weening's to lose. He had the comfort of a breaker throw. Danny was 20 points down on his average from the evening. Responded perfectly, just 18 darts to win the next 2 legs. Left tops after 12.
100.
But for a change, he wasn't able to take it within 3 darts. Kelvin O'Keefe getting in on the camera stare action. I may or may not have pulled that face a couple of times with some of his counting.
Certainly enjoying his evening, isn't he? But Danny may not be enjoying his evening because his evening may be coming to a close here. Even a maximum doesn't leave him on a finish. But he does get him down.
140.
You can forgive him a little bit for finding himself on 3-4-6. It was a little bit of a deflection into the treble 5. But that is something that's changed in the modern game, that setup shot. Even after your
45.
first 6 darts, ensuring that you can hit a maximum to leave a finish and dig yourself out of trouble.
He may be getting himself out of trouble here, Danny Van Truyck. Back-to-back 140s. But 66 is one of those that doesn't look very hard in regards to the amount of numbers, but a lot of it lies on that first dart. You don't get the first dart right, it's only going to be 1 dart at the double.
100. Danny requires 66.
Treble 10 for double 18. Gets himself 2 darts at it. Double 9 to stay alive.
57.
And it won't go. And Brandon Weenan can potentially take out this 97 in 2 darts. If it hits the single, it's decision time. Does he chase another treble or will he go double-double? That wild first dart into the 7 forced his hand to chase a treble. But Van Truyck wants 9 to stay alive. 2 at double 4. Now double 2.
7.
And he's gone inside once again.
60.
And in the last 2 legs, Danny Van Truyck has missed 3 darts from tops and now 6 darts from 66. And has it gifted Brandon Weenan a spot in tonight's final?
Let's give him the chance. A chance he's been unable to take. Danny Van Truyck's missed 7 important darts at the double. Make that 8. The count goes on.
Game Sean the 6th.
Uses that marker.
Danny Van Truyck.
Last dart in hand.
7th and final leg, it's Danny to throw first.
There was almost a little bit of embarrassment about the way that leg finished there from Danny.
There was an awful lot of relief, I can tell you that.
100.
But he is now throwing for a spot in tonight's final. How will Weening respond?
96.
Very finely in the balance, both players finding 1 treble. If that continues, Danny Van Truyck will be more than happy with that scenario.
140.
Showing great composure when he needs it the most. And Brandon Weenan just doing that little tack, just taking a little bit of the pace out of the game. Does seem to work well for him, and it's worked well for him again on that occasion. But that 10 points makes a big difference.
Yeah, no need for Danny to switch to a go unconventional. Instead, he just piles in the maximum. Leaves a 2-darter after 9 darts. Brandon should start on the 19s here. 4 19s and 25 will leave him on 170. But he may need the lot.
133.
What a great last leg from both players, bringing out their best when they need it the most. But Danny will get a match dart. He was looking at the single there to try and leave his favourite tops. Instead, he'll be looking at double 4 for a 12-darter and a place in the final.
73.
Doesn't go. Brandon Weenan
138.
He's already at 5 treble 19s in this leg. 2 more will give him a dart at double 12 to stay alive. There's 1. A little bit wild with a second, and he'll be relying on Van Truyck to miss once again if it is going to be Weening that progresses to tonight's final.
86. Danny require 8.
Last dart in hand like a dagger to the heart of Brandon Weening. Danny Van Truyck wins back-to-back legs on double 1 and double 2 to ensure that he progresses to tonight's final. For Brandon Weenan, it's been an excellent 6 days here at the MODUS Super Series. He'd have been hoping for a little bit more before he returns home to Australia tomorrow. But the Dutchman that we saw last here 2 years ago is into the final on his first Saturday night here in Portsmouth. 4-3 in the end, an 88.90 average for Danny van Tripe, 92.42 for Brandon Weening. The Dutchman is into the final, but who will he take on? Will it be Shane McGurk or will it be Henry Coates? We'll find out after this ad break.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. What a dramatic semi-final we saw before the break. It twisted and turned in one direction, then the other. Brandon Weening opened up a 2-0 lead. Then it looked like Danny van Tripe was going to win through. Then we went to a last leg decider. Van Tripe holding his nerve to win 4-3. So that's the first of our semi-finals. Next up, we're going to see the WDF World Champion Shane McGurk in action. He beat Paul Lim, the 70-year-old, to pick up the title at the Lakeside in December. He takes on an 18-year-old in this semi-final in Henry Coates. It's game on.
How far over can he get to use that barrel? Far enough is the answer. On debut on Saturday night, Henry Coates picks up his first win. Richie House.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. It's time to meet the second set of semi-finalists. Would you please welcome to the stage, he's a former Development Tour winner. It's Henry Coates, and he is the WDF Champion of the World, Shane McGurk.
Well, that got the crowd on their feet, didn't it? A great walk on there between Henry Coates and Shane McGurk. Is it going to be the youth of the 18-year-old, or is it going to be the experience of the world champion? And Henry, you're going to have to learn something very quickly. When the world champion's in town, he's going to throw first, more often than not, and he has to make way for his senior there. In the commentary box is Matthew Edgar and Jack Garwood.
Yeah, that's not actually the rule with who throws first. That was decided by positions in the group stage, but it is Shane McGurk with the advantage of throw in this semi-final. The Lakeside champion looking for his first weekly title here at the MODUS Super Series. Taking on the 18-year-old from Matlock, Henry Coates, here on debut. What an achievement that would be to book his spot in Champions Night. Alex Small, Jensen Walker and Sam Spivey have all punched their tickets.
First leg,
will one of these two be the fourth man to do so this series? Or will Danny Van Tripe topple whoever comes through this one?
On the balance of play and everything we saw so far when we did our little analysis before the start of the semi-finals, it was suggested Danny Van Tripe would play Shane McGurk in the final. However,
85.
we very nearly didn't get to that point. Brandon Weening had opportunities to spoil that discussion, and now it's over to Henry Coates to see if he can topple
180.
reigning WDF World Champion, who has been exceptional tonight.
140.
There was a little part of me that thought perhaps we were destined for a rematch from the Lakeside. McGurk versus Weening in that final, especially the way that Brandon started that semi-final against Danny. But it is the DVT who awaits the winner of this one.
180. Shane McGurk,
Both players
136.
chucking the kitchen sink at each other to start.
58. Henry,
That's what I've liked about Henry Coates. He's just took everything in his stride. And the question I posed in that discussion with Henry Deacon was, can he step it up again? Because you feel if he is going to go take this title, and he's going to have to do it the hard way, he's going to have to go through Shane McGurk and Danny Van Tripe.
Game shown the first leg. Shane McGurk.
That will not be an easy feat in this semi-final. Shane McGurk with a 15-dart holder throw. Puts him on the board nice and early.
$97.
And if we are to have one little criticism of Henry this week,
135.
perhaps it's those setup shots from the 96 range. We've seen it a couple of times from the ton plus range as well.
139.
The counting is superb. You can see the way he's flying around the board, treble 14s, treble 13s, etc. Perhaps sometimes the execution has just been 5% off what it needs to be.
Perfect execution there, though, from McGurk.
95.
And this is what you need to do on your opponent's throw in the sort of semi-final stage. Really set down a markup. He's being aggressive here, Shane McGurk. He's attacking.
130. Henry McGurk, 170.
A dart was thrown this week, and he's showing why. 9 darts thrown, and he's on a possible 2-darter.
156.
Henry's brother watching on. Another one of those that can do nothing about watching their man play.
Game shown
well,
the
the
second
performance
leg.
of Shane McGurk. There's
Shane
not
McGurk.
much Henry can do about this performance because this is exceptional from McGurk.
Third leg, it's
2
Shane
legs
to
in,
throw
averaging
first.
111.33.
Just 27 darts to take the opening 2 legs.
85. $140.
Henry Coates averaging 112.11 himself and yet to get a dart at a double.
The game's gone mad.
This one certainly has.
96.
Quality semi-final clash here.
It's the 4th maximum of the match. 2 each for Shane McGurk and Henry Coates.
Have you noticed the atmosphere's changed a little bit in the arena as well?
177.
People know they're getting a bit of a special game of darts, a big treat here.
141. Shane McGurk 143.
Coates sets up 40 and we'll get a visit at it. He might have been a little fearful that he wouldn't return in this leg. The way that Shane McGurk has been playing.
93. Henry require 40.
Leaves 50. Coates has been solid on tops this week. Now double 10.
Game
Beautiful
shot
last
the
starting
third
hand.
leg. Henry Coates.
Would have been easy to just buckle under the
Full
pressure
leg
there.
is
Another
Henry
big
to throw
visit from
first.
Shane
Game.
McGurk.
$99.
Both players well over the 110 average mark right now.
140.
We get on screen, please.
140.
Well, if the people in the audience thought they were seeing something special,
99.
just take a look at those numbers. Incredible semi-final, a Super Series classic here in week 4.
56.
Both players on 262 after 6 starts. Henry unable to find the treble that would have left at least 170. Bit of a wild one from Shane.
76.
Means it's still advantage Coates. Needs a treble.
60.
Doesn't get one.
This is McGurk's chance here to gain full control. To put himself a leg away from the final.
100. Henry require 146.
Sort of the minimum requirement there for Shane, and the disappointment will come because the treble came with the opening dart.
86.
His finishing tonight
Shane
has been
require
absolutely
86.
sublime.
Should have got at least a dart at the bullseye. We'll be hoping for one at tops now, which is what he gets.
Game
Shane McGurk, even when he gets it wrong, Matt, he's getting it right. Superb from Arrow.
5th leg, it's Shane to throw first. Game on.
And that one will hurt Henry, won't it? Because when you see that first dart hit the single one, you start to think you're getting a chance. You're coming back to the board to level it up. You would have won the last 2 legs at that point, and you've got a real chance at getting at the Lakeside champion.
Well, we asked if Henry Coates can step it up, and he has. He really has. He's put in a great
43.
performance here. But as you say, that one may have just been a critical blow. Just seems to have taken the wind out of his sails, and Shane McGurk just continuing to plough on with this absolute world-class performance.
44.
Back-to-back visits without a treble for Henry could spell the end here. Shane McGurk is in absolutely no mood to let up.
57.
He's got the advantage of the throw. He's had a 180. The only way Henry Coates is getting back into this is if Shane McGurk makes mistakes.
134.
And that's mistakes.
Shane require 164.
Multiple needed, because he's got full control here, Shane McGurk.
And the issue for Henry is we're yet to really see Shane make a mistake, singular.
96.
Let's pick off with the last one, brings him down to a 2-darter. This needs to be a full house, you feel. It's not going to be, but he does get down to a finish.
Change requires 68.
How crucial will that last dart be? Possibly not very, as McGurk gets 2 in hand at double 4. One more. Use the marker perfectly. Shane McGurk with an imperious display in the semi-final. A 4-1 victory over Henry Coates, who's been magnificent on his debut here at the MODUS Super Series. But it is the Lakeside World Champion, Arrow Shane McGurk, who progresses to the final. 106.74 the average for McGurk, 4 from 6 on the outer ring. 3 maximums thrown in there for good measure as well. Shane McGurk is into today's final, where he will take on Danny Van Tripe in a few moments' time.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
Yoki with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think he's gone to
180.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George Scaife wasn't even able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
required
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy. Couldn't get the job done.
And the match! And the Red Dragon
George
MODUS
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife!
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where it looks like that collision course is going to happen. Danny Van Tripe and Shane McGurk are into the final here at the Live Lounge in Port. So 2 contrasting semi-finals. The first one was littered with drama. The second one was littered with brilliance. Both players averaging way in excess of a ton. Shane McGurk winning by 4 legs to 1 against Shane McGurk. Matthew Edgar's alongside me here in the studio. The numbers there are ridiculous, aren't they? I mean, Henry Coates won 1 leg, averaging 103.
Yeah, I think that's where I want to start really with Henry Coates, because before the semi-finals, I did look at those games and say Henry Coates needs to raise it now. He's shown us a good level of consistency. Consistency gets you so far. We've then got to see something special. We've got to see you push the boundaries and see that A game, and we did. It was an exceptional performance from Henry Coates. He acquitted himself so well. Just lost his way towards the end, but anyone would. On debut here, 18 years old, being hit with what he was hit. So big credit to Henry Coates. He did his part. But the attention turns now to what Shane McGurk did. That was a great performance. And not for the first time. He's been very solid tonight. He's barely put a foot wrong. His combination finishing has been up there with some of the best in the world. And the control of that game, even when Henry Coates was hitting him back and hitting him hard, Shane McGurk's composure was that of a champion.
Shane McGurk's got a new title in World Champion. And as you mentioned there, he drew out those qualities. And maybe a Shane McGurk 6 months ago wouldn't win that game.
Yeah, I think Shane McGurk's been on a journey these last 3 days, because he even alluded to his interview at the start of today where he says, well, I know what I achieved. My family does. My local area does. Which tells me maybe took a bit of flack. Maybe people have been trying to discredit the title of which he won. And with that, maybe he came here feeling he had something to prove. And he had to come here and sort of produce something, and it didn't really happen for him on Thursday, and I think that might have been the best thing for him. If he came in and hit the ground running, maybe he would have felt like he had to continue that. But once he had that day, he had a very poor performance on Thursday, and I think when that came, it was almost like relief of got nothing to panic about. I've done that poor performance. Now everyone can say what they want to say, and I can get back down to business. And now he's shown why he is that champion.
Scott Mitchell mentioned it when he won the title. Overnight, the expectations, the pressure, it completely changed. Now, Scott was a player that for about 3 or 4 years was brewing up to that. And I mean this with the greatest of respect to Shane. I think he'll be the first to admit this. He went from a little bit of obscurity to a player slowly improving. Then he bursted towards that world title. Yes, he's won the Lakeside, but he's still learning a lot of things at the highest level at the same time.
He'll admit that himself. I had a good chat with Shane McGurk for about an hour this afternoon, and he'd be the first one to sort of admit that case. But also, the positioning of that title in the darts world right now is a bit uncertain. Mm-hmm. Where does that rank in regards to the overall ranking of titles within darts now? Certainly with announcements we've had this week, where does it place? Certainly in the amateur game or the professional game, wherever that may be. And Shane McGurk's carrying that with him, and he's carrying those question marks and those burdens, and he didn't wear those burdens at all there. I think a win here in the Super Series, winning a week, maybe winning a series, I think will show where that title is and where its relevancy is, because I think, and I've mentioned this a few times and I stand by it so firmly, that title needs the winner to go on and do something else. And then what that does is that really confirms that position.
In terms of Danny Van Tryp, it was a different type of semi-final win. He had to almost grind that out. Yes, he showed moments of quality, didn't he? The 13-darter, the amount of times he left himself in decent positions in legs. But Brandon Weening threw, just like Henry did, everything at him. It was a bit more nip and tuck.
He could have lost that game quite easily, actually. But for me, I think that's probably more impressive. So Danny Van Tryp has been exceptional today. He's breezed through the group stages without drama. You're going to have drama. You're going to have situations where it gets a little bit tricky for you when you're playing this quality of field and it's as evenly matched as everything suggested it would be at the start of the night. Now, he's come through that. He's come through that game. He's come through that moment. Then he's done what Shane McGurk produced the performance he has. He knows what he needs to go up there and do. And we go back to that Pro Tour. It's so relevant right now. Because when we look at that, yes, Shane McGurk's got that WF title, but he's never been a tour card holder, and he has tried on multiple occasions to be one. Danny Van Tryp has been. He's been on the tour, and he's been in that situation where you've won a good game, and then you go into the board final, and you've got a Luke Humphries, a Van Gerwen, and that was sort of that level of darts.
And when he was 2-0 down, we've probably seen a lot of lesser players in that situation fold, whereas Danny stepped it up.
Yeah, and I say that's more impressive for me than if he just went up there and blew him away. We've seen that side of him. We've seen that in the group stages. Then, what's it like with adversity? What's it like with jeopardy? He responded. It was good. And he's going to have to face it here, because if Shane McGurk carries on the way he did, even anything like that, he's going to lay it up to him, and he's going to have to respond again.
So the final in week 4 is going to get underway in around about 5 minutes' time. But it's time to see what week 5 is going to bring us here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth.
The drum roll finishes, and the target is hit. What a moment! Yes, we can.
And the match. Game shot on a
Yeah,
fit
that's an
flag.
almost central
Reece
ball,
Colley.
but that is a 1-2-1.
He's to the ball. Andreas
He's
Harrison
on the
nodding
first
along in the
flag.
background. He
Ted
thought it
Evans.
was going to go, and he was right.
Can he wrap it up? In style, that's the way to do it.
As we see here, a massive turn opportunity.
Shot on the third
Simple,
leg. Carl
bish,
Wilson.
bash, bosh.
So this is what we are going to see next week. Reece Colley, who actually had a decent one at the Lakeside itself. Kurt Parry seemingly improving all the time. They're going to be two of the star attractions alongside Ted Everts in Group A. Group B could be fiery. Reece Robinson, Mark McGeaney and Jamie Owens. Expect some testosterone there. Group C, Carl Wilson, Ricky King and Dan Nichols will all be in action. It's a 9:30 start on Monday morning. Just your thoughts on next week and some of the players that you're looking forward to watching.
Mark McGeaney's actually quite local to me now, and he's been playing a lot of local league darts. He's been playing very well, did very, very well at Q School. I think he could be one to keep an eye on, and he's a little bit of an awkward player to play as well due to the way in which he plays, with the pace and the style of which he plays, and there's players in there that like to just get on with things. So I think he could be a tricky customer next week, and, well, do you need to look any further than Reece Robinson?
The human highlight reel himself?
Mr. Must See, and amongst many other things that he'll call himself in the week.
Most certainly. Monday morning, 9:30. You can't miss the human highlight reel. And hopefully you're not going to miss this final either, because it could be one for the Super Series highlight reel, because Shane McGurk's going to take on Danny Van Tripe. Look, we've seen the spectacular from Shane McGurk this evening, but we've also seen this real sticking power, this durability about Danny Van Tripe. How do these two meet in the middle in this match, do you feel?
I think this is going to be close. I think it's going to be tight. I don't see one blowing the other one away. I think it's going to be very well reactive. Both of them have been very good on their combinations and their doubles tonight. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be tight. But after the evidence of what we've just seen, I think you've got to go with Shane.
And is that because he won semi-final number 2 and he's coming straight off, so you still feel hot? Or can you have that real good performance and then it did that? How do you think the dynamic's going to work? Shane has won the ball, incidentally, in the practice room.
He's ready. The key is stay ready. Now, there's this conversation all the time about do you play number 1 or number 2. When you come off and you've won, it's tick over time. Don't go sit down. Don't go chill. You've got to stay switched on. We don't have this ability to switch on and off all the time. So just go on the board, tick over, stay focused, come out and deliver.
It's a little bit loud in here. The atmosphere really is red hot. Both players know what it's like to win on big stages. Danny Van Tripe's had success at the Dutch Open. Obviously, Shane's won at the Lakeside. There's nothing about this particular match that's going to be alien for the pair.
No, and the crowd here tonight have just had that real special treat, haven't they, in that performance from Shane McGurk and Henry Coates. So they're going to be warmed up. They're going to be ready for this. They're going to get another treat of a game, and I'm sure they'll all be sticking around to see who's going to come out on top on week 4.
Well, it's going to be an intriguing final, Matt. I shall see you at the end, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy a fantastic final here, live and exclusive on Pluto TV. It felt like a collision course between these two at the outset of tonight. As soon as Richie Hauser went out, all the eyes were on Danny Van Tripe and Shane McGurk, and they're going to meet for the right to be the 4th player into Champions Week, pick up the £5,000 prize, and be back here at the end of April. It's time for the final here at the Live Lounge.
Last dart in hand, like a dagger to the heart of Brandon Weening. Two in hand at double 4. One more. Use the marker perfectly. Shane McGurk with
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. It is time to introduce the finalists. would you firstly please welcome to the stage? He's a 2-time Challenge Tour winner, Danny Van Drype! And now, would you please welcome his opponent? He is the WDF Champion of the World. It's Shane McGurk!
Well, this could well be some final. Danny Van Drype has won a lot of friends and quite literally a lot of hearts this week. But Shane McGurk is a proven champion. He is a world conqueror. But is he going to conquer here at the Live Lounge for the first time this evening? Let's find out. Matthew Edgar and Jack Garwood have the big call.
Thanks, Henry. Yeah, it is final time here at the MODUS Live Lounge. Live on Pluto TV, where Danny Van Drype will take on the reigning Lakeside World Champion, Shane McGurk. And just look at the smile on Shane's face when Owen Binks, our referee and MC for the evening, introduced him as such.
Something he's got to get used to, isn't it, Shane McGurk? His first real sort of competitive stage of which he's been called out on. He has played exhibition alongside the Iceman Gerwin Price, where he'd been called on as said
First
title.
leg, it's Shane to throw first. Game on!
Something I know that he's very keen to do a little bit more of in regards to getting himself on the exhibition circuit. He's got one title that would get the interest of the bookers, but if he was to add a Super Series title to that as well, he may just live that dream in 2025.
And that intro will just hit that little bit different here. This is a competitive environment. He's got that edge over his opponent, and he's not walking out against another person who also has the same accolade in Gerwin Price.
Very imposing figure, isn't he, the Iceman?
In some great form at the moment as well. Started the Premier League quite nicely, and the Pro Tour.
I suppose for Shane McGurk, the thing here is not to play that game in your mind of the past, because sometimes we have these big performances like he did 106.74 in the semi-final. Everything feels a bit like a downgrade. You don't feel like you're playing as well anymore, even though you're still producing some very good darts.
97.
Do you just fall into the trap of chasing that level constantly?
Oh, absolutely. You
55.
You watch the Pro Tour on a regular basis. You'll see someone average 105, then 82, and they go out the next round. Becomes almost an expectation.
Darts is a very easy game to play, but it's a very difficult game to play well, consistently, match in, match out.
Well, what Shane's been doing consistently this evening is combination checkouts like so, and he continues to do so here in the final. 17 darter to kickstart proceedings. And the concern there for Danny Van Drype, who was so far back, unable to land any sort of blow there, 215 points away, and he's not picked it up at the start of leg 2.
Shane has been to this stage of a week once before.
100.
But that final appearance did end in defeat for Arrow.
100.
He's made the right start here on his second final appearance, though.
It's a different customer, though, now, isn't he, Shane McGurk? And he's going to want to get his fingerprints on that very trophy at the end of the night. He's going to need to get a new trophy cabinet if he carries on this way, isn't he?
100.
It's a very snazzy-looking trophy. Very snazzy looking 180. It's McGurk's first of the game, and it puts him in full control of leg number 2.
55. Shane McGurk 81.
With that all-important break already secured. And time on Shane McGurk's hands. That's why he's opted for the bullseye route from 81.
59.
May find himself in a little bit of a tricky one when he comes back, though.
Double 11's one of those doubles that's really nicely positioned, but the breakdown isn't nice.
Game shown the second leg.
No issues for Shane McGurk, though. 2 from 3 on the outer ring, averaging 100 in this final.
Third leg, it's Shane to throw first. Game on.
We said he might struggle a little bit chasing the level that he produced in the semi-final, but Shane McGurk is having no such issues so far.
But Danny has been here before, hasn't he? This is the same situation as the semi-final with Brandon Weening. However, Shane McGurk is playing better than Brandon Weening was in that clash. And you don't feel that Shane McGurk's going to take the foot off the gas. The only way back here for Danny Van Tripe is to pick the levels up.
85.
I'll be honest, when Shane delivered the level of performance that he did on Thursday, I was a little bit worried for him. Perhaps the weight of that Lakeside title was on his shoulders a little bit. Wasn't quite as polished as we saw from him at the Lakeside. But ever since he stepped through the doors on Friday evening,
58.
He's been a completely different player.
$51.
Won both his games in the group stage earlier on.
140.
Beat Brandon Weening 4-2 and Justin Smith 4-0. Followed that up with that 4-1 success
50.
over Henry Coates.
84.
And he's potentially 2 darts away from a 3-0 lead over Danny Van Tripe here in the final. Double 12. Now double 6.
No score. Danny require 120.
A rare miss, but a miss that could cause problems.
100.
Shane McGurk back to 84. Instead of coming back for one in hand at a double, we may only get a dart at the bullseye this time round, Matt.
That's all he's going to get.
59.
He needs a little bit more. I feel this is an opportunity that's passing him by and that he's giving the darts to Danny Van Tripe.
Game shown the third
Whatever
leg.
way it's happened.
Danny Van Tripe.
Either he feels he's lost it or he feels he's been beat. Danny Van
Full
Tripe's
leg
got a
is
leg on the
Danny
board
to
and he's
throw
got that
first.
breaker
Game.
throw back. Shane McGurk had it all in his hands. The width of a wire costing him.
140. $60. $83. $140.
Big visit from McGurk, but it's still advantage Van Tripe in leg 4.
60.
Henry Coates has joined the crowd to take in this final. He can be incredibly proud of what he's done on debut this week, can't he, Matt?
He was exceptional, yeah. Really good performance from Henry. And went down with a lot of credit.
58. Shane require
Shane McGurk trying to
161.
regain control of this final. Danny nowhere near the levels we've seen from him so far this evening and this week.
99. Danny require 106.
80 for Danny at the minute. Shane McGurk up around 95.
140.
But perhaps more importantly, Shane McGurk is throwing for a 3-1 lead to secure the 2-leg cushion once again.
And in all those key exchanges and all those key moments, Shane McGurk has stood up and been countered, and he's done so once again.
Shane to throw first.
McGurk,
Game on.
a leg away from another big title on his CV.
Given what he achieved at the Lakeside just a few weeks ago, he'd have been mightily disappointed not to get through Q-School, knowing the form that Shane carried throughout that tournament that we're seeing now. But what a way to bounce back this would be.
It may be a blessing in disguise. Give him another year. Give him a year to play with that sort of expectation and being a bit more of a name within the sport, and maybe going for a card next year would be the best time for Shane McGurk. Danny Van Tripe said it himself this week. He got the card too early.
Do you think this year will be a chance for Shane to be a big fish in a slightly smaller pond than the PDC?
Well,
97.
It may not even just be this year. It may be this week, and it may be this series. Because so far, Champions Week littered with opportunity. But he needs one more leg to get there, and he's just stumbling a little bit with the finishing line in sight.
This opportunity that comes with the newly announced news
140.
that each series winner will be heading to the ADC Global Championship this year.
$54. Danny requires 64.
Shane can put those thoughts on hold for now because it's 64 for Van Tripe. Tried to leave tops, but finds himself one dart, a double 16.
48. Shane requires.
What a way to win it this would be for Shane McGurk. He has finished like an absolute dream this evening.
$96. Danny requires 16.
So Danny looking for his second leg, and both those legs would have been
Game show on
Shane
the fifth
McGurk's
leg.
throw.
Danny Van Tripe. Sixth leg is Danny to throw first. Game on.
Tripe with the darts to send us to a decider.
In these short format games, you can very quickly panic, especially for Shane McGurk, who didn't really produce the goods in that leg. He'll just be telling himself, just stay calm.
And plant the perfect first dart in that treble 20 bag. That was never going anywhere else from Shane McGurk.
I really like the reaction. Something I think that's missing a little bit in the Shane McGurk game, some controlled aggression.
He just lets Danny know he's still here.
100.
He believes he's going to take this title.
Well, everyone will from this point. It's in Shane McGurk's hands. It's his to lose. The damage has been done.
100.
Exactly the same situation as the semi-final, where it will take multiple mistakes now from Shane McGurk to allow Danny Van Tripe to extend
65.
this game into a last leg shootout.
Use the bullseye nicely from McGurk.
60. Shane require 160.
He's got a single to treble to double combination rather than needing the bullseye. Is this McGurk's moment? Single 19. One dart at tops.
76.
This is the top wire.
He's got time though, hasn't he? 5 big power trebles in the opening 6 has earned him the luxury.
100.
But that one
Shane, you
keeps it interesting for Danny.
40.
The big Dutchman is on the horizon. But Shane McGurk is the Week 4 champion.
Week 4 MODUS
The Irishman
Super
downs Danny Van Tripe by 4 legs to 2 in the final.
Shane McGurk.
What a week it's been for the Irishman. The Lakeside champion is finally a winner here at the MODUS Super Series. He wins the final with a 92 average over Danny Van Tripe. And he has been superb since he set foot in the building yesterday evening. It was a rocky start for him on Thursday where it didn't quite go to plan for Arrow. But since then, his finishing has been truly superb. 4 from 9 in that final, 44% and a 4-2 victory for Shane McGurk. He takes the title. and he adds it to his ever-growing trophy cabinet.
Thank you, Jack. Excellent work this evening, and excellent work from Shane McGurk as he wins his first Super Series title. He got the better of Danny Van Tryke by 4-2 in the final. Not quite the heights of his semi-final win, but it was more than efficient to get the job done. The Lakeside champion is now a winner at the Live Lounge. It's time to crown him in the company of your MC, Owen Binks.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the presentation. Would you please show your appreciation for your Week 4 MODUS Super Series champion? It's Shane McGurk! Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Shane McGurk!
Well, he's doing a lot of firsts right now, isn't he, Shane McGurk? He won the Lakeside in December, and now, for the first time, he is a Super Series winner. Look at that smile, beaming from ear to ear. A nice acknowledgement, Kerwin O'Keefe, one of his adversaries in Group B. And, well, when you're the world champion, you have to do a lot of these, and that is sign a lot of stuff. Matthew Edgar is alongside me. This is a player that is constantly getting better time after time.
And look what it means to him as well. That's what I think's the big thing we can see here. Shane McGurk is on a very much upwards trajectory. He's finding consistency. We knew he had the quality. He's shown the quality, but to show the quality consistently enough to be able to challenge titles, right now, we have just seen the favourite to win this series.
Well, the crowd depart after a night's action. Shane McGurk is going to join us in the studio, and that is going to be in a few moments' time. Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes.
Let's do it then.
Ladies and gentlemen, your MODUS Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Labanowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new MODUS Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin And one more time, the 8th MODUS Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new MODUS Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th MODUS Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison!
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 MODUS Super Series champion, Scott Taylor!
One more time, your new MODUS
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where week 4 has come to a close, and it sees the Lakeside World Champion Shane McGurk win his first title here at the MODUS Live Lounge. He got the better of Danny Van Tripe by 4-2 in the final. What has been a real entertaining night's worth of arrows, and it is the arrow that has prevailed, and he joins myself and Matthew Edgar in the studio now. Shane McGurk, many congratulations. You're getting used to picking these trophy things up now, aren't you?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's going well. I think that myself, in my own head, like everything's going well, and like darts is a mental game, and everyone knows that. So if your head's right, then your darts will follow it. So that's my attitude towards the whole thing. And I had a good day yesterday, and I think the confidence just ran through today.
Thursday, you came in quite late. You flew in on Thursday morning. Did it kind of have a bit of a knock-on effect in terms of the first day?
I don't know. I'd like to say, yeah, it did, but I'm not sure. I think it was just lack of match practice that I had since I won the Lakeside. Do you know, like, I know I played Q School and a few of the Challenge Tours, but, you know, like, coming into something like this here, it's different. Like, so I needed a few games under my belt before I could actually start my week, as I would call it. Like, but yeah, I knew coming in Thursday that I was playing all right. Like, and I have confidence. Like, that's nothing that I don't lack in. Like, but to win overall tonight, to win my first week is incredible. Like, and I'm buzzing for this. Like,
well, this is the moment you did it, Shane. Tops up throws. Ironically, something Danny's been doing all week long, and then in it goes. First start, and we could just see there the emotion. You were saying to us in the advert break there, you've been waiting so long to win one of these.
Yeah, I've been coming here for a few years now, and I've made one final before this, and I didn't really put much of an effort into that final, but I played myself now. Like, and I know I've won the Lakeside as well, but I think that's just given me more confidence to actually progress to something like this here. I don't know what's going to happen in the next year, but I'm excited to see what happens for me now.
Does this feel like the beginning of your season now? Obviously, Q-School didn't quite go to plan. The Challenge Tour maybe would have wanted to have done a little bit better than you wanted to. But does this feel like now, right, 2025, the season's begun, I've won something, and this can be your springboard now?
Yeah, I think that anyone who wins a weekly title here is, like, there's no easy games. Definitely not. I had to work hard all night for this here, but I do think that this is the start of good things to come. I'm hoping I'm not wrong in saying that, but I think it's more so what I can do myself and what I believe I can achieve in the game. I know where I want to go in the future. I was talking to you, Matt, earlier about it. Like, I know what I want to achieve in the future, but for now, like, anything I'm going into, I've more of a winning mentality to do it, then more so I'm going to compete in this. I hope I do well, but now I can win this, and this is the change in me, and I'm hoping that this is going to continue in the future.
We've spoken in commentary about how you've become a player that's almost catapulted your status overnight because of what you did at the Lakeside in December. We've always seen you as a very good player that was capable of doing things. But it's felt like in 1 week we've gone from that tag being associated with you to this tag of somebody now that's got this expectation to win every single time he does it. Has it felt different in terms of when you go into tournaments, the pressures and maybe the demands that are now had of you?
Yeah, I felt a lot of pressure coming in here this week because a lot of people think you won the Lakeside, you should win this. There was a lot of pressure coming in. I don't let pressure come to me too often, but coming in, I knew I was lacking experience for match experience this year. So, and I wasn't practicing as much at home this year, so I was kind of on the ropes about how this was going to go. But I knew after a game or two on Thursday that I'm still competitive, and this could go my way if I just apply myself in more games and just get into Saturday night was the goal. And luckily enough, I topped Group B, and the next thing, I had a great start here tonight, and I don't know how, but I'm sitting here now with yous, and I'm finally a weekly winner.
And in terms of shape, we've seen it with other players in the past that win that real big title, and then unable to follow up with something like this, a Super Series title. We're going to see the moment that the presentation happened now. To follow it up quite quickly is a massive statement, isn't it?
And so soon as well, because we know, we spoke quite a lot about what the WDF World Championship means in the landscape of darts now. There'd be scrutiny. There will be people out there that would have wanted Shane to fail now because of that title, and there'll be people that didn't want to see him go on to further success. But what he's done tonight is he's sort of silenced that sort of critic, because it wasn't just picking up a title, it was picking up a title in style. That semi-final with Henry Coates was an absolute Super Series classic. And then to go up against a player who's just come off the tour now in Danny Van Tripe and pick up the performance where Danny, it felt he was just clinging on to the game. It always felt like Shane was going to win that. It always felt like he was in control of that moment. And it's exciting to see now what happens throughout the year, because it seems now like all roads are sort of moving towards that tour card.
And it's felt like as well in this series, you mentioned it a little bit before the break, that we've been waiting for somebody to do something that stands out. And it's felt like, particularly this week with the likes of Shane, Danny to a certain extent as well, we've had a couple of players that have done that.
We've changed the narrative. Coming into this week, the narrative was opportunity. We looked at this week, we said opportunity. We look at Champions Week, the 3 players that are there, we say opportunity. We don't have a favourite. We do now. We have a firm favourite. And if Shane replicates that performance, he'll be getting his hands on more trophies like tonight.
Matt mentioning there about possibly some of the criticisms that have come your way ever since winning the title. Do you feel they're fair in your eyes?
I don't know. It's mixed. Like there's mixed emotions about everything. And at home, like I've got more messages saying that everyone wants me to fail. Everyone doesn't want me to achieve anything in darts. But no one actually knows, because on the background of darts, I probably have more messages against me than for me. That's no disrespect to anyone who's texted me and rang me and whatever it is and met me and says that they wish me well in the future. But there is more people out there that actually hate you for what you've done, and it's a bit of jealousy as well. Like, but everyone goes through it and everyone has to push on through it. I don't let it get to me, but I've trying to prove everyone wrong, that I deserve to win the Lakeside. I deserved everything I got, and I can show it now, especially winning this year. I can actually show it that I am in form, and this is a sign of good things to come.
Well, let's talk about the positive, because you were excellent at Lakeside and a deserved winner of that tournament. As world champion now, what do you want to do? Look, obviously you've mentioned this is high up on the radar. What are the sort of things in 2025 with that title that you have? And it does open up many, many doors for you. What are the type of things that you'd like to do on the Oki? Maybe 1 or 2 things off the Oki too.
My goal is to do more exhibition work. I think I went to exhibitions. I went to see all these players playing exhibitions, and it's a lot of fun. And to be one of them players that provides this exhibition, it will be absolutely incredible for me. And the more I can do throughout the year, the more confident I know I will get. You play people from around the countries, who wherever you are, you play all these people, and there's different levels that they're going to produce against you. And you want to win, like you want to perform well in front of these people. And I think that the added pressure for that will help me improve as a player, and hopefully then come next year around that I could achieve a tour card and get on the actual tour.
Talk to us about real life, because we see Luke Littler earning millions, Luke Humphreys earning millions, but you're someone who still works, and we had a conversation this afternoon that I think is really interesting in regards to the fact you don't see yourself stepping away from that lifestyle.
No, I don't. I think the work life, especially currently now, like my work is, they're very generous to me. Like they let me have time off and to come to this here. I'm happy where I am. It's a big thing to be happy where you are and can actually come to things like this here. They support me in everything I do, and they're very generous to me, as I have said. But I think that working for me, it gets your mind off everything else that's going on in the background. If, like I said the other day, like if there's you have a bad spell and you're 2 or 3 months and you haven't won a game, going to work will distract you from that. Like you're not going home every day and trying to batter the board and just trying to prove everyone wrong that you can win a game. But going to work, I think it's incredible for me, and I actually think it helped me actually get through the Lakeside, and even tonight, like I never thought about this until I actually flew over. You know, like it's. I used to be different, but now I'm not. Like, and I think it's improved me as a player.
You've won one major title in the last few months. We'll have a look at the lineup now for Champions Week, and you're very much now in the hat to win your second major within the space of about 5 months by the time Champions Week comes around. How much are you now looking forward to that particular challenge?
Yeah, it's an honour to be in the list of names that's going to win a week here. No one understands how hard it is. Everyone that gets invited here can play darts. Everyone. You could go from losing a week to winning another week the next time you come. I've done it. I've topped every group here, but I've never won a week until tonight, and that's something that I'm going to take with me now in my head, in my heart. I'm going to build on that confidence-wise. It's going to help me big time, and I'm looking forward to coming back for Champions Week, and I'm going to compete as much as I can to win that.
In terms of the lineup now, Shane McGurk is going to be the standout because the other three had never appeared there. Well, all four haven't appeared there before, but Shane's CV in comparison to the others, without disrespect, is going to put him in a different spotlight.
Yeah, I said earlier on, didn't I? I think he's the favourite, and I'll stand by that now until another name comes up. It reminds me of a couple of series ago, we had a very similar sort of situation. Around about this time, Andreas Harrison, who was doing some very good stuff, sort of won through, and you went, right, that's the guy to beat. And a few names came up afterwards, and you thought, oh, he's got some rivals. Then, obviously, Andreas Harrison, as we know, went on to win the title. I see a very similar story emerging here.
Matt, thank you for your company. Shane, many, many congratulations. The title of World Champion is something that suits you very, very well indeed. And you've acquitted yourself expertly as that. And we look forward to watching you again at Champions Week. Many congratulations on your success. We shall see you again within due course. Right, plenty coming up on Pluto TV. Well, we're heading towards the farm here on Pluto TV in a few moments' time. I have not gone insane, Shane, I promise you. But Scott Mitchell is taking us on a trip round his farm in a few moments' time. It's the latest edition of the On the Oki series here on Pluto TV. Well, we might have one or two goats next week at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Yes, Paul Nicholson's back in the commentary box. We're underway 9:30 a.m. on Monday morning, and there might be some horsing around in the commentary box too. It's going to be plenty of fun, that is for sure, but as far as tonight is concerned, well, Shane McGurk, the reigning WDF World Champion, well, he went a little bit berserk, didn't he? A superb semi-final, and then he tripped up Danny Van Tripe in the final to pick up the trophy. He is the first big name through to Champions League. From all of us here, thank you for watching. Bye-bye for now.
Henry was actually the JDC #1 at one point, ahead of Luke.
Game
And that is exactly why. 107 from Henry Coates. On debut on Saturday night, Henry Coates picks up his first win. He's got at least 6 darts from here to wrap this one up. Double 16 once again. Double 16, Shane McGurk finds. He gets his from relative comfort. This 130 for Coates. Needs to go, and that's exactly what it does.
4-2 to Henry Coates in his opening game, and he has now gone down by the same scoreline. A sensational game of darts there.
But this is a chance for Brandon to stay alive. 2 darts at double 16. He only needs the one. Brandon Weening produces the escape trick. Like Danny to close this group 1. Double top. First dart in hand for Danny Van Tripe. Use that barrel. Far enough is the answer. Shane McGurk. Uses that marker.
Danny Van Tripe.
Last dart in hand, like a dagger to the heart of Brandon Weening. What he gets? Shane McGurk, even when he gets it wrong, Matt, he's getting it right. In hand at double 4. One more. Use the marker perfectly. Shane McGurk. No issues for Shane McGurk though. Big Dutchman is on the horizon. But Shane McGurk is the week 4 champion.
It's Shane McGurk!
What a finish! What a man! The drum roll finishes, and the target is hit. And
it comes on finals night, and it's a knockout.
Dirty